Thank you to the New York Jets for ending week one on a good note, because what we saw at MetLife Stadium on Sunday night was an absolute stinker. But boys, we got a great one for Monday Night Football. Hello, everyone. This is Stats Over Politics, episode number 50. Here we are. It's already been 50 episodes, and we're all back together. Kevin Dent, Garry Singh, Jaevon Toddy. I am Shaun Holko. We appreciate you for tuning in immediately after that exciting Monday Night Football game that went to overtime. Shout out to the New York Jets for being resilient, still getting the win. And I'm going to start things with Jaevon Toddy, who is on a bit of a hot streak, not only with the hotline, but on the personal bets as well. How you feeling, Jaevon?
I need an Xavier, what is his name? The guy
Xavier Gibson.
I need an Xavier Gibson jersey as soon as I can. However I can get it, I need it. Because the Jets were literally dead in the water. Obviously, Aaron Rodgers goes down 4 plays into the drive. It all goes to shit. You're already seeing, DraftKings, FanDuel. FanDuel's not giving anybody any refunds, none of that. Nobody's getting none of that. And I'm just like, man, it's over. Fucking Zach Wilson can't move the ball to save his life. The Jets.
Were you watching the Payne cast?
The Jets deep. I was not watching the Payne cast.
No, there was Payne was talking mad shit.
Payne was talking everything bad about Zach Wilson. Like, it was just, there was no way that they were going to come back. But by somehow the grace of Jesus Christ himself, he struck down upon thee and said, you know what? The Madden curse is real. You're going to turn the ball over 4 times, and the Jets are going to get a win at MetLife right after the shellacking of the other New York team. And it's just, I don't really know how to really explain it. It's just the role that I've been on has been magical. And it's week one of the end. It's only week one. This is the great part. It's only week one.
Someone who is not on a roll is the man wearing the black and yellow shirt, that being Garry Singh, who, to my surprise, did show up for our watch party yesterday, Jaevon. Thank you to you and Sophia for hosting us. Garry,
Yes,
how are you feeling today?
You guys already know, man. I had a rough week one in terms of betting, in terms of my picks. I think I went under 500 by a game because of this Jets game now. So it's looking all right week one, but it's okay. We got a lot of football left, guys. A lot of football left.
Yeah, my picks were absolute dog shit this week. I think I maybe got 6 out of 16. So don't come to me for advice on picks. Kevin, how did you do, and how are you feeling?
I'm feeling good, man. That was a crazy game. The group chat was going nuts. Toddy said he wasn't going to be able to survive in overtime, and I'm happy he made it. So I was worried for him, but I'm doing good. That's what I was just thinking to myself. We should have tallied up the records so we could bring them onto the show.
How the game went into overtime is the kick doinked in. I thought the game was over.
Dude, I thought the game was over too.
I thought the game was over.
Someone just texted, what are we going to do? I said, nothing. Get on the pod. Game's over. And then I was like, oh, that's it.
The way how my neighbors stopped me and Soph were fighting on how badly I was screaming in my apartment complex. After the game was over, it is unprecedented. She could probably tell you in the comments on how crazy I went after the game was over. I felt like I returned the kick. It felt like I was out there returning the punt in overtime in MetLife Stadium. That's how
you were like Robert Saleh. He's gone. He's gone.
He's gone. I haven't really even went into my phone because my phone's been going crazy since I'm trying to, as soon as I saw the guy cross the end zone, I ran to grab all of my stuff. I'm like, I'm setting up right now. Like, it was just, I can't believe it.
Honestly, no, just feeling bad for Kev, to be honest. Like, man, we about to have Kev staying late night with this OT, man.
I was like, he's going to go to the very last minute for a freaking field goal. Watch.
Yeah.
Well, Xavier Gibson said, hold my beer. It was a great way to end Monday Night Football. And speaking of comments, Jaevon, I want to get to a couple of YouTube comments from a couple of loyal listeners and members of our Stats Over Politics Fantasy Football League. Uncle Manny's always tapping in. We appreciate you, Uncle Manny, saying, have a great show, guys. That was an ugly game, but great at the same time. These QBs very rusty with no preseason action. And on the other side of the wager for tonight, who Uncle Manny paid, was Evan Tillman, who said, let's fucking go. Vonny is the GOAT. I completely agree. And our guy Julian's tapping in saying, yo, what's up with the guys? Great Sunday for the boys. Not so great for Garry. That is a fact, and we will get to that in just a moment. But, guys, let's get right to that game as the Jets beat the Bills 22-16 in overtime. Aaron Rodgers went down on the fourth play of the game, and the breaking news is that Robert Saleh just said in his post-game press conference, quote, it's not good, as the Jets fear a torn Achilles for Aaron Rodgers as he will get an MRI on Tuesday. Initial speculation was Aaron Rodgers just sprained his ankle, but unfortunately it could be much worse. And something else that I wanted to mention is that Josh Allen is now 0-5 in his career in overtime, including the playoffs.
Yeah.
Josh Allen can't seem to win in overtime to save his life. Poor guy, but that was the game. Kevin, I'm going to toss it to you first. What did you think of the first Monday Night Football game of the season?
Man, what a hell of a way to open it. All this expectation, 9-11, everyone was really routed up for this game. Like you mentioned, we saw the Giants get literally destroyed. We'll get into that later. But to see them come in and with all those emotions and come in on the fourth play of the drive, the reason everyone is watching this game is for 8. They don't even call him Aaron Rodgers. They just call him 8. Everyone was watching this game for 8. And to see him go down, I know that just took a huge gust out of the Jets players. I know the Niners fans can relate, losing a quarterback, just feeling, the whole, not even talking shit, just feeling the whole momentum just gone. Like you feel like you no longer have a chance. Garrett Wilson's out there just throwing his hands in the air. They can't get passes going. They're like, oh, shit, it's last year all over again. Our defense is going to play lights out, and we can't score 14 points. We're going to lose this game because we can't score 14 points. So it was nuts. But the last thing I'm going to say about this, I went into this day going 0-3 in fantasy, and I was like, damn, Toddy's only going to beat me because the Cowboys defense. I said, Alyssa, the Jets are going to have one of them games, and I'm going to come back and beat you. I'm going to lose the battle to Toddy, but I'm going to win the war. And I beat Alyssa 100-99. Shout out.
Let's not talk about Shaun. I'm playing Shaun this week, right, y'all? And I don't know if y'all know what happened, but Tyreek Hill got me a big W, and I was down in the dumps for Shaun early yesterday. Anyways, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say that it was a great start to the fantasy football season for me. Solid 0-3. Great start to the fantasy season for me, including Tyreek Hill absolutely destroying me in my matchup with Garry. So congratulations, Garry, on getting that victory. And so now, Garry, you are the victor. And what did you think about our first Monday Night Football game?
Oh, man, this game was crazy, man. Like Kev just mentioned when, man, it's sad to see. I know this breaking news that, the fearful for Aaron Rodgers. It kind of sucks that, because that first, 3-4 plays of the game, he was getting hammered. You could tell that, this O-line is not ready to protect this guy right here, Aaron Rodgers, who is, we all know is what, I forgot what year he's in, but he's on the last tail end of his career here, and the number one thing he needs is protection, because once he gets protection, he can start dishing out to his guys. So that was a little bit sad to see, because literally that was like the whole offseason problem that they kept addressing for the Jets was his offensive line. So I guess the people that predicted that it would be in shambles basically were looking correct tonight. Wilson steps in. Zach Wilson probably had no clue that he was going to play. I think Fitzpatrick on the Manning cast was talking about, he was talking to him preseason and how about that he was ready to learn behind Aaron Rodgers and stuff like that, behind the Hall of Famer. Well, looks like you can be thrown into the wildfire again, my guy, and you got some weapons to help you out. As you can see, this Jets defense was nothing to play with. It was kind of weird, like, I was waiting, you would think that, the Bills are going to capitalize and just, choke them out and boom, put a dagger in them early and call this a game. But they just kept letting them have a chance. Josh just forcing things, which, hey, he leads the league in interceptions now and turnovers beginning of the season. I know it's week 1, but it is not a good start for a guy who they've been talking about that they need to take the next step and get into that Patrick Mahomes and Joe Burrow category. I feel like he's slipping in this way, and especially it's not a good way to start the season. So I think it was just a weird win. Like we talked, it was just a weird win. Like, you want to take positivity if Aaron Rodgers was there for this game for the Jets, but at the same time, going forward, this was an abysmal offense. They were barely scoring. Literally, Peyton Manning would say that he gets 3 more throws left in like the third quarter. Like he was saying, Zach Wilson only gets 3 more throws to throw, and then it was just crazy how much disrespect he was actually giving them. So I was like, if Peyton Manning's saying this on live television about this quarterback, it says a lot of what he thinks about this and what the Jets probably think about him internally. So, but hey, you got to give it credit where credit's due. He threw a lob to the corner fade route right there to the Garrett Wilson to bring that ball in and make a great. I know, Kev, that was a crazy. I didn't scream too much. I don't only scream during games that you seen yesterday. Well, we was getting whacked yesterday, but I was going crazy when I seen that catch. I'm not gonna. It was a spectacular catch, probably top play tonight on ESPN, and top play of the weekend, I think, so far. So it was a great game, a little weird game, but I think the Bills will bounce back, but they got some question marks for sure that they're going to have to handle here soon.
And Jaevon, as you were saying, your neighbors probably thought that you and Soph were yelling at each other just because you were yelling so much. And even Soph tapped in on the YouTube comments. She said it was a roller coaster of emotions for him being Jaevon. And so, Jaevon, you can bring up your hot streak or you can talk about the game, but the floor is yours.
Soph has seen me go through a roller coaster of emotions since Saturday. And this kind of what started everything. And it kind of just rolled over into Sunday. Garry and Shaun were over at the house on Sunday. Watched some football. Got this nice jersey for my boy Shaun. Didn't have a jersey last week. Now we are not jerseyless. Kind of just going into today. It was the last part of the hotline. Hotline went 4-0 last week. Kevin didn't post anything about the hotline last week. Went 1-3. He posted about it this week. Goose egg. Just the hype of Aaron Rodgers all off season. Him going on McAfee, announcing he wants to play for the Jets, coming out of the darkness retreat, saying that he's coming to New York, pretty much. And it was just a whole off season. Hard Knocks was there. They're bringing up the last quarterback. Basically, was Joe Namath. I mean, it's just been that much of a travesty at quarterback since the Jets have been a team, pretty much. And Aaron Rodgers is coming into town. And, there's, all the emotions, obviously, the circumstances of today being 9/11, it was just poured onto all the emotions of it being in MetLife Stadium and just Aaron Rodgers' first game as a New York Jet. And, they get the ball first. They kind of come down. First 4 plays of the game, Aaron Rodgers ends up going down. You kind of saw early. The offensive line was pretty shaky, and that was kind of a question mark kind of going into the regular season. Aaron Rodgers was kind of saying, and even he was saying, publicly saying, like, this is shit we gotta fix. The offensive line needs to be, tip top pretty much. And you kind of saw early that he was kind of getting pressured, and he took a sack, and I thought it was just, like a regular sack. He was going to get back up. Doesn't get up. Tries to walk off. Needs help off the field. Ultimately gets carted off of the field. Just that turf in general has had a bunch of history. A lot of injuries have happened on that field. Obviously, for us Niner fans, Nick Bosa tore his ACL on that same field. And then, Zach Wilson, he has to come in and save the day. And you're playing against Josh Allen. Ultimately, they brought in Aaron Rodgers because Zach Wilson was the number 2 overall pick a couple years ago. and he's been very pedestrian ever since. Zach Wilson cannot read a defense. I'm just going to say that right out loud. Like, whenever he drops back to pass, I don't know what he sees. There's guys running wide open. He panics and just, like, throws it to whoever. Like, it's I wouldn't
He
even
was
say it's
running
the
a lot today,
I
like
wouldn't even say it's
opposite
the
direction.
O-line. It's just him being able to, like, okay, let's go through my progressions. I get it. There's always going to be people in your face when you're facing a pass rush. You have to be able to step up into the pocket, evade pressure to a certain degree, and be able to get to the ball to the right receiver. You kind of saw that on like 2 or 3 throws out of however many attempts that he had. And obviously he had the back shoulder throw to Garrett Wilson, who, you know what, I'm just going to say this out loud. This is something that me and Kevin and Shaun have gone back.
14 for 21.
Ohio State's wide receiver. I'm just going to say it. I don't give a fuck about what anybody says. Just Garrett Wilson is a freaking dog. You got to get him. You have to get him the ball. You got to get your playmakers the ball. And I feel like they were in one-on-one situations and a lot, and freaking Robert Saleh was so scared to drop back Zach Wilson that he didn't want to lose the game. Like, there were times when they got the ball back off of Josh Allen's 4th turnover late in the 4th, and they could have went up by 7 because there was at least 3 times down the stretch where literally they stacked the box, and you had Garrett Wilson one-on-one in coverage against a nobody. It wasn't Tre'Davious White. It was whoever the other corner was. And, you know, ultimately they didn't take advantage of those opportunities. And I kind of heard Aikman say on the cast that Aaron Rodgers is known for changing the play at the line of scrimmage. And he's able to read, you know, he's very good in pre-snap. So I think if Aaron Rodgers was obviously in the game, this would be a totally different ball game because of the 4 turnovers that Josh Allen ultimately had. And Rodgers would have figured out a way to get into the end zone. It's off of at least 1 or 2 of those turnovers, and ultimately Zach Wilson did. But the main thing was obviously the defense in this game. That D-line was absolutely dominating, I think. Quentin Williams was getting back there. Apparently Quentin Williams' older brother plays on the team. He's a middle linebacker. Dude was flying all over the place, making tackles, just disrupting. Sauce Gardner played well. I thought that I would have liked to see him follow Stephon down the stretch on that last drive, but I get it because they're in hurry up. It's kind of hard with positioning and the way that their offense or their defense was set up. DJ Reed had made some big plays, and obviously, ultimately, Whitehead is the safety that I'm mentioning who had the 3 picks. So, you know, this Jets defense, you got to give it up to him. Zach Wilson is only going to be able to do so much, and it's kind of looking like Aaron Rodgers is going to be, you know, kind of down for the count for the end of the year, and that's not what Jets fans were kind of hoping to see. It was a Pyrrhic victory for Jets fans ultimately, and you're going to have to try and figure out a way to, you know, kind of pick the troops up. I mean, you're 1-0. You're tied for first in the division. What is next for the Jets? I really couldn't tell you. Do they try to look for somebody and sniff around for a trade?
And the ball to Breece Hall.
I don't know. But, yeah, Breece Hall, that running game was very important to the Jets. I feel like if Breece Hall gets into the end zone, maybe if Garrett Wilson maybe lays a block instead of trying to celebrate. I thought he was gone because I ran outside of the room and thought that he scored, but he ultimately got tackled. And,
gassed out.
Yeah, he looked great, you know, coming off of an ACL injury. He looks
127 yards, only 10 carries.
Yeah, he looked phenomenal. So, Zach, I feel like just with the play calling, people are going to stack the box against Zach Wilson now. And you're going to have to make him throw. And if the Jets don't, or if the Bills don't turn the ball over 4 times, I don't know how the Jets win this game because the Jets ultimately got way more possessions than the Bills did. But it's going to be tough. It's going to be basically the same thing as they were last year. They're going to be in a bunch of close games because the defense is going to not give up as many points. And they're going to be in a lot of rock fights because Zach Wilson, you're going to have to lean on Zach Wilson to win you games. And I don't know. It literally took a special teams play to end the game because I was so afraid of them going into overtime. Josh Allen gets the ball. I don't know what was going to happen. But then I saw the stat that he was 0-5 in his career. So that helped too. So I went through a bunch of emotions, a lot of emotions.
And Xavier Gibson, his overtime punt return touchdown is the first overtime punt return touchdown since 2011. It's been 12 years.
Was that the
and this
Deshaun
isn't-
Jackson?
No, it was not. It was a guy, Jaevon, that got cooked yesterday several times. None other than Mr. Patrick Peterson, member of the Pittsburgh Steelers. As now we move on to the 49ers absolutely wrecking the Steelers 30-7. And our guy Marcellus, who joined us last week for the podcast in our 49er takeover with Jaevon and I, he's in the YouTube comments and he said, Pittsburgh was who we thought they were. I feel that way. I'm sure Jaevon feels that way. Garry, we respect you for not only showing up for the watch party, knowing what you were walking into, but also for
we were down, I think, 20 when I came.
Exactly, yeah, because you got there around
and
halftime.
I still showed up with the Steeler shirt, Kev, with the whole get down still.
Hey, man, that's
Steeler
love.
shirts, Steeler shorts, Steeler socks. He head to toe. I respect it. And so now, Garry, you're wearing your Steeler shirt tonight. We respect that. And before Jaevon and I put you through the incinerator, go ahead and give us your thoughts on what the Steelers did in their first week.
Well, obviously, as you guys know, I lost $200 to these fellow gentlemen right here. I sent their money right after the game, even though Shaun wanted to request me hella early in the game. Like, all right, bro, hold on, wait.
It was
like
over.
third quarter. It was over.
It was like third quarter.
And
It was over.
Gary,
But I was
you got Shaun feeling good.
It was
And I
after
was
the
actually,
McCaffrey touchdown.
and I was gonna already. The funny thing is when he actually requested, I actually was already on my phone, about to send it to him. So I made him wait until after the game. Man, that's a little funny side note. But
I was being petty.
you know what? You got to give credit where credit's due. I ain't gonna lie. You're gonna say, quote my coach Mike T right here. We got punched in the teeth straight up. We weren't ready at all from the get go. There was really nothing that was going right from us from the beginning, offensively and defensively. I guess I could be happy with we scored one touchdown compared to what I seen from Daniel Jones last night, scoring 0. So I guess I was a little bit upbeat about that. But still, anything that was, I guess, Kev was getting on me on FaceTime yesterday about preseason and all that stuff. Even though I wasn't hyped up about the preseason, Kev, I was hyped about end of last year. But oh man, but you know what? Give credit where credit's due. You know, your guys' guy BA Ayuk was running roughshod all over us, finding wide open plays and seams all over. And you know, it was you got to give credit where credit's due to the Niners. They had a great first drive scripted in, and we just weren't ready. Simple as that. We weren't ready at home, which was kind of weird because usually my Steelers, at least if anything, especially underdogs, at least show up with a lot of heart and a lot of grit usually. So it was kind of weird not to see that. I'm not gonna lie, but. Like I was telling Shaun, writing my notes, what I said to you yesterday, Shaun, don't worry, just week 1, baby. It's all good, just week 1. So we're not jumping off just yet. We're not losing faith just yet, Kev. Don't shake your head, man. You still picked us to go into the playoffs. Don't give up just yet. It's just week 1. We got a great coach. We got the playmakers. We got the team. We just got to round it about, and, you know, like Shaun told me yesterday after he was talking so much shit to me when I was down. After he finally said something positive, but it can only go up from here. And he's right. It can only go up from here
because it was rock bottom.
Simple. It was rock bottom. And you know what? I hate to say it, but I did pick your guys' team to go far. And it's not like we lost to a great team that was ready. And obviously you could tell they were ready to go. And you guys, you know, top to bottom are one of the best teams in the NFL. So I'm not too mad at it. I'm not too mad at it. But I feel like this was a good wake-up call in the beginning of the year to wake us up. And, you know, I feel like this might be a blessing in disguise. We're going to take a little positive, as I should, in week 1.
Jaevon, real quickly before I toss it over to you for your thoughts, I wanted to mention the big news that came out after we recorded last week's podcast that Nick Bosa was officially back. That's Nick Bosa, not Joey Bosa. Shout out to Ian Rappaport for butchering that. I don't get how you still do that all these years later. But Nick Bosa signed a 5-year deal worth $170 million with $122.5 million guaranteed, making himself the highest paid defensive player in NFL history. And in that 30-7 loss, the Steelers trailed by 17-plus points at home in week 1 for the first time since 1997 when they lost by a very similar score to the Cowboys, 37-7. Brock Purdy, he's the first quarterback in NFL history to guide his team to a win in each of his first 6 career starts while also throwing at least two touchdown passes in each of those starts. He's also the first quarterback in NFL history with a passer rating of over 95 in each of his first 6 career regular season starts. Those stats are via ESPN, so shout out to them for making me sound smarter than I actually am. Jaevon, 30-7. I mean, I feel like Marcellus said it best. Steelers are who we thought they were. The Niners are who we thought they were. And to me, the Niners proved to me yesterday that they are the best team in the NFL, at least after week 1. Kevin will probably have something to say about that, but we'll wait to hear his response. What did you think about that game, Jaevon?
Pure domination. Going into this game, I was kind of hearing a lot of, sneaky remarks of just about, the Steelers team, who I thought they have a great roster. It's very similar to ours. They have a great defensive line, solid, I would say. They have an all-pro safety. Have a great running back, I think, and they have an up-and-coming wide receiver and a very solid wide receiver core. The only thing I thought was just the quarterback situation. I thought that Brock Purdy going into this game was better than Kenny Pickett. And a lot of people were thinking that Kenny Pickett kind of going into it was, building off of last year. He had some momentum last year, and during the preseason, the preseason was a lot of people were very high on Kenny Pickett, saying that the George Pickens connection with Kenny Pickett is going to be masterful. I think he threw some sort of pass to Kenny Pickett or to George Pickens in the preseason. They kind of just made everybody just go, "Wow, look at this connection and what it's going to look like." And then ultimately, the Niners go into, I'm not sure what it's called now, but I still call it Heinz Field.
Acrisure,
whatever field you want to call them. The Niners just came in just purely dominated. Made Kenny Pickett look pedestrian, like a deer in the headlights. Najee Harris got a taste of what it feels like to go up against a Fred Warner, an all-pro linebacker, the best linebacker in football, in my opinion. And just ultimately, Kenny Pickett was seeing ghosts, I thought. Throwing the early pick to Javarius Ward, a.k.a. Mooney Ward. Diamador Lenore was making plays. Fred Warner had a tip pass to Talanoa Ufunga, who almost took it to the house, and, throwing laterals on an interception. The Niners were just having fun. And then Brock Purdy coming off of a UCL injury. Brandon Ayuk just looks wide-ass open every time that he's touched the football. Kevin is probably shaking in his boots after the week 1 game with Brandon Ayuk.
He is.
He's
in denial right now.
Deebo Samuel's making plays. And, I forgot. Christian McCaffrey had 150 yards rushing, too. Like, I can just go all day on naming the guys that just made plays for us constantly. And we
120 yards after contact for Christian McCaffrey. That shit is nuts.
I don't know what you want me to say. The Niners just purely dominated, looked like the best team in football on Sunday, in my opinion, on the road. Purdy threw for 2 touchdowns. He threw for 2 touchdowns, and I think he made NFL history on Sunday. I think he's the first quarterback in the first 7 starts to throw for 2+ touchdowns and have like a passer rating. It's just, Purdy. A lot of people were kind of wondering, hey, there's tape on Purdy. I heard Uncle Manny in the group chat that there's tape going to be on Purdy. He's saying this, that, and the third. What's he going to look like against another defense? And all these teams are going to have, Tomlin had the whole offseason to look at Purdy, who was recovering from a UCL injury against, obviously, getting knocked out against the Eagles in the NFC Championship game. And they had offseason to pretty much kind of prepare for Purdy and see what it's going to look like, all the tape that they were kind of, preparing for. And it just didn't really click for them. Kyle Shanahan pretty much had his way with the Steelers defense. Ultimately, the only person that looked good on the Steelers was TJ Watt. TJ Watt had like 3 sacks. So he's a beast, obviously. But pretty much the entire game, it was just like, you obviously hear the stuff with, Patrick Peterson, who was a great corner at one point in time. And then Purdy ultimately getting the best of him with Brandon Ayuk. And, you're hearing him in his post-game press conference like, wait, that was Patrick Peterson, right? That was him. Okay, that's cool, So, and even today, Michael Parsons said on his podcast, he thinks Brock Purdy is a top 15 quarterback, and I 100% wholeheartedly agree with that statement. Just the way that he's going to be playing, I'm not worried about how he's going to look. I think he's going to ball all season long, and this is just the beginning. We didn't really get George Kittle really involved. Debo wasn't really the number 1 option that he usually is. I think Brandon Ayuk is showing you that he can be a number 1 receiver, and this offense is going to be scary. This team is going to be scary on just how pedestrian the defense made the the Pittsburgh offense looked and how easily Purdy was able to move the ball up and down the field. So it's it's gonna get scary for teams in the NFL, man. I don't know what else you want me to say. This team looks like the best team in football.
Well, Kevin, you are an Eagles fan. That's obvious. And your Eagles, they seem to struggle against the New England Patriots. So before we move on to that game, I just have to ask, are the 49ers the best team in the NFL right now?
Congratulations to the Niners. You guys won the Super Bowl in week 1. Can't wait to see the rings. We had Shaun calling me on our year-long bet saying, Kevin, you can just pay me $80 now and it's all good. You know, my dad's
129 yards.
One drive. Talking about you saw that? You see the way we're playing? Man, ain't y'all win before? Aren't y'all supposed to be used to this? Y'all over here celebrating all over Twitter like y'all don't won a Super Bowl. Like, congratulations. You beat the JV Steelers. Congrats. Let's all give it up for them, you guys. Let's give it up.
Good defense.
You guys had a great game, you know. All the stats. You guys are over here lateral and look like a flag football game out there. Shaun FaceTime me. I'm washing my dishes. Talking about, did you see that? No, I didn't see that. It was. I ain't gonna get on Garry because I was a firm believer of two glove. I was a firm believer of two glove Kenny coming into the preseason. You saw the picks that we put out. I chose the Steelers. I was a firm believer. He showed me that I was wrong. False hope. But yeah, man, you know, congratulations to the Niners. You guys won the Super Bowl in week 1. So congratulations. Never been done before. So I'm looking forward to, you know, next season for you guys. Purdy finals MVP yesterday. So great game for you guys.
Yeah, I love the sarcasm. He's laying it on thick. But Jaevon, you are on a bit of a hot streak, and you had to sweat out the end of a big wager that you made yesterday, and it's because of Kevin's Eagles. He said, make the reservation to Chicago Fire. It wasn't as simple as we hoped it would be. The Eagles got out to like a 16-0 lead, and then they went on to win 25-20. Shout out to Big Play Slay. But anyways, Kevin, I'm going to toss it back to you because this is your squad. This is you being an Eagles fan is probably the only reason why we're talking about this game. But the Eagles, they beat the Patriots 25-20. And so what did you think about it?
We can't talk about the best team in the NFC. We only got to talk about them because I'm a fan. The NFC champion Eagles? That's kind of nuts. I think we're politicking early into the show. But let's get into this, man. 16-0. Kevin's got his feet up, kicking back, watching Toddy texting the group chat. I'm like, man, I'm not even worried about it. We're all good. And then shit hit the fan. Last season, we saw that we were able to get up early on teams and just run them to death. We definitely saw that Bill Belichick is still Bill Belichick. You know, for our OC to come out there and have his very first game against Bill Belichick, that's a hell of a game. And I think it really just comes down to we don't get any reps in the preseason. I guarantee you we're not going to see Lane Johnson and Jordan Mailata play that bad again.
Okay.
You know, it's just the rest. We talk about Lane Johnson getting off the ball early, and he was getting off the ball late. So it just goes to show that we just got to get the reps in, man. And for us to go in there and win an ugly game shows a lot. Jalen Hurts was able to go in there in the rain in the first half and do his thing. And then we had the fumble issue that really kind of raised some eyebrows. We saw it in the Super Bowl. Some people can say it cost us. So for him to come in there and turn the ball over really showed some negative signs. But the biggest surprise to me was the fact that Kenneth Gainwell is our RP1 every down back.
Crazy.
You know, Rashad Penny to be hurt, man. You know, when we traded for him, I was like, all right, he's going to be healthy. This is going to be the year. And homeboy doesn't even make it week one. So that was very disappointing to see. But DeAndre Swift got one touch. So that was interesting. We just really ran and pound. We just run Kenneth into the ground. We saw Christian Gonzalez, man, huge shout out to him. He was out there doing his thing as a rookie. He's out there, you know, for your very first matchup to be arguably the best wide receiver duo in the NFL. He had it both ways. He was going to the left on AJ, he was going to the right on Devontae. So he had it going. But once I saw Devontae Smith come out there with no gloves, I know you guys aren't Eagle fans like me, but when it rains, he throws the gloves to the side and says, I got left and right. I don't need the gloves. And he's going out there snagging.
I did see he didn't have his. I was watching.
Hey, man, every time it rains, he doesn't do it. But the biggest thing that I want to come on here and talk about is the defense. We saw the Commanders run it up our throat. The next day, Howie said, we're getting D linemen. Ndamukong Suh's coming in. A, B, and C is coming in. But now we have Mr. Jordan Davis. For him to go out there and play 30 snaps, 6 quarterback pressures, 1 forced fumble that changed the momentum of the game for us to take that 16 early run. And then we got another Georgia dog, and Jalen Carter for him to go in there and get a sack in his very first game. This D line is really showing that we're gonna be an elite defense again. You know, everyone thought last year was a fluke. We're losing all these pieces. Yes, we had some injuries, but like I was telling Toddy, our linebacker core was already thin, so now we're just thinner. Like Shaun told Garry, only way we can go is up. It honestly can't get no worse than this. So I'm looking forward to it. It was a good game to see. I'm happy that we were able to pull it out, and we got good old Wesley and his team coming into Philly next week. So, oh no, I think we're going to Minnesota. I'm about to say, yeah, I think we're going to Minnesota on Thursday. So they came to us last year. So I'm looking forward to that. Jalen Hurts is going to bounce back, and we're going to look like the good old team. I know we gave everybody a good scare to think that, the Eagles are on a Super Bowl hangover, this, and that. I'm happy everyone's still watching us, man. I'm happy we still got the support of all the world. So fly, Eagles, fly.
Well, Jaevon, you and I were both temporary Eagles fans yesterday because I was rooting for your parlay. You had a parlay that was relying on the Eagles, and so just take us through the range of emotions that you were going through yesterday as the Eagles failed to put the Patriots and McCorkle away.
As much as I wanted to give Kevin shit here on the pod on Monday, I was definitely fly Eagles fly for about 3.5 hours yesterday. Started out hot. I was very excited. Seeing that, McCorkle was looking like McCorkle early. Darius Slay getting the pick six early. Them being able to drive down and pretty much move and do whatever they kind of wanted to do against a Bill Belichick-led defense was pretty eye-opening early. And I was, I think they ended up missing the extra point, if I'm not mistaken, which is why the reason the game was 16-0, not 17-0. So, up early, I'm thinking, okay, Mac kind of looks the same. He doesn't really look like he knows what he's doing this down the third. And I feel like the Eagles kind of let up on the gas pedal a little bit. The D-line on the Eagles, they played outstandingly well. Jordan Davis was getting pressure. Jalen Carter, the rookie, had a sack in this game. I think Nakobe Dean, he ended up getting hurt in this game, so Kevin kind of pointed that out that they're looking for another linebacker. Darius Slay, I already mentioned, made some big plays. Big play Slay is the reason why that is his handle on all platforms. But, the Eagles kind of looked very pedestrian second half. Jalen Hurts not really being able to move the ball. Missing a couple deep balls, too. A.J. Brown, I thought he didn't really get involved until late into the game. I thought you could have looked for Devontae Smith a little bit more into the game. Just kind of trying to get the ball to your playmakers. Kevin already mentioned Kenneth Gainwell is their number one running back. I noticed that he was pretty much RB1 getting the majority of the snaps. I was kind of wondering why DeAndre Swift wasn't out there getting the majority of the snaps, but that's another story for another day. Mac Jones kind of just, went into Pro Bowl Mac Jones mode and just looking for Kendrick Bourne. Kendrick Bourne had 2 touchdowns this game, former Niner, by the way. I think he only had like 3 touchdowns all year last year, and he had 2 yesterday. So Mac Jones in the second half was pretty much able to move up and down the field. Bill O'Brien started to open up the playbook a little bit more, and Mac was kind of making plays, off-scheduled plays a little bit. And the defense for the Patriots was able to create stops. And it kind of came down to, Jalen Hurts needed just to ice the game. The Eagles got the ball back, and he ultimately fumbles. And my heart went through the roof, and I couldn't believe what the hell was happening. I was like, the Patriots are going to come back and win. There's like 5 minutes left. But that's when the Eagles ended up getting those timely stops. And it kind of came down to a Keyshawn Butte last 4th down play where he wasn't able to drag the foot. And that kind of, ended. It was a turnover on downs. The Eagles were pretty much able to get the ball back and kneel. So, bit of a scare yesterday. I'd say throughout the entire day, the only games I didn't really have to worry about was the Falcons game. So I had Falcons, Niners, I had Saints, and I had the Eagles on parlay. Niners didn't really.
You were definitely stressing that Saints game,
I
though.
was definitely stressing the Saints game because Derek Carr looked very pedestrian pretty much the entire game. Wasn't really able to do anything. Pretty much until the very end of the game. But the Eagles were able to come out on top, and the Eagles were the better team. I thought so. I thought America thought that. That's why they were favored yesterday, and they ended up coming out with the win. But some questions with going forward. Can the Eagles offense be consistent? I believe they can, but maybe it was just Bill Belichick scheming up a crazy defensive scheme to try and defend this team as crazy as possible as he can, because Matt Judon was getting all types of pressure on Jalen Hurts yesterday. So this Eagles team was able to come out 1-0, but coming from this game, I don't think the Eagles look like the best team in the league. I feel like they showed that they can win in different ways. I feel like that they showed that they can win under adversity, but you saw teams go up 17-0 and they really didn't let off the gas. The Cowboys didn't let off the gas, and the Niners didn't let off the gas. The Eagles were up 16-0 early, and they kind of Uncle Manny, he said the Eagles went into cruise control, and they kind of fell asleep at the wheel. And I feel like that might cause some concerns later in the year, but early in the year, a lot of things can happen, so you got to get kinks out early, pretty much.
And Garry, I want to toss this next question to you because you're the only unbiased one on this panel when it comes to this exact question, because we have a little bit of a debate going on in our YouTube comments. As our guy Marcellus said, Brandon Ayuk is better than Devontae Smith, and he said at Kevin.
Jeez,
and
man.
our guy Khalil says, I don't know about that one, Selly. Just one game. And so, Garry, as the Steelers fan on this panel, not a 49ers fan, not an Eagles fan, you're the only one I trust to give a good opinion on this one. And so what do you think? Or would you rather have Brandon Ayuk, the best route runner in the NFL, or Devontae Smith, the Heisman Trophy winner?
I'm going to take Devontae Smith, to be honest with you, Kev. Even though BA did put a number on my team yesterday, so I'm like having a little trauma on that one. But yeah, Devontae Smith is like a Heisman winner, and BA's on the way though. You got to give a lot of credit where credit's due. He's been getting better every single year, so you got to give him that credit. I know Kevin don't want to hear it, but he had a good game yesterday. He probably should keep having a good game going forward, because especially people have been saying, I don't know if you guys have been seeing, I don't know if you guys believe this, Vonny and Shaun, but I guess people are saying that he's the number one option now. That's what everyone's trying to say. I heard a lot of Niner fans say he's the number one wide receiver.
Our number one option.
He's a pure receiver.
Yeah, but let's not forget about Debo now. Let's make sure to give him the mix, especially because I got him in fantasy. Just saying.
But these are some road down for me lately, Niner fans, man. It's all BA right now. I woke up, people talking about BA over CD, BA over Smitty. Man, it's one game.
He's not better than Devontae Smith. He did some crazy things yesterday, too. They basically got two number ones right there in Philly with those guys, and A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. So that's what it is right there. This game right here was just a little bit – it was weird. I ain't gonna lie. I was at Javon's house still when the Eagles went up crazy, and I was like, I was telling him, don't worry about it. Don't sweat your money, man. I was telling you, don't sweat your money. You're good. You got this one in the bag.
Make the reservation.
I come driving home. By the time I get home, it's looking real ugly. I'm like, hold on. This game got real good and real close out of nowhere. So, again, back to what Kevin said, too, about Bill Belichick, like he's still showing with Tom Brady in the building that he is a factor with the least defense. You got to give Mac Jones a lot of credit. They had more passing right here. I'm looking at 306 yards to 154 yards compared to the Eagles. They were nip and tuck and the rush yards too. So it's really those turnovers that really killed the New England Patriots early, and really a bad start that really, maybe hurt them in the long run to maybe make this a W in their column. But you got to give credit to the Eagles. I was saying this last year. I feel like they didn't play that many good quarterbacks, and then all those things that I was mentioning last year. I feel like Jalen Hurts needed to get tested. So this is year 2 now of Jalen Hurts, and he didn't have a greatest game, but he did show up when it counted most, made the plays happen like a winning quarterback should. So I feel like that's one positive takeaway that the Eagles can take from this game. They get the W in an ugly fashion, but showing that they can win different ways. That's a good way to start the year, Kev.
All right, as Kevin, for our audio-only listeners, Kevin is mimicking Jameis Winston eating a W right now. But now, guys, let's circle back to Thursday and the season opener between the Chiefs and the Lions, as the Lions prevailed 21-20 to beat the Kansas City Chiefs. The big storyline in that game is the Kansas City Chiefs were not only missing Travis Kelce, but they were also missing Chris Jones, who was still there. He was in a box watching, and he said he was there not to be petty, but because he wanted to see the banner that he helped contribute to be raised at Arrowhead. So that's understandable. And now the news of today is that Chris Jones, he's still on the final year of his contract, but now he's going to come and play because the Chiefs gave him multiple incentives for, quote, considerably more money, according to Adam Schefter of ESPN.
I didn't see the numbers come out for that one.
I didn't see any numbers either, Jaevon, but Chris Jones
big
is
for
going
the
to be
public.
returning. Yeah, and so
Need to
the
know.
Lions did beat the Chiefs 21-20. And so, Jaevon, what did you think about this game? Was this really an upset, or are you more with Dan Campbell, where he said we expected to do this?
I think America was shocked on this game. Going into it, didn't really know if Travis Kelce was going to play or not. Apparently, he's a big deal. Had some money on, had a player prop in this game, I think, yeah. And Kadarius Toney pretty much ruined it. Had the one catch for 1 yard. He was very pedestrian in this game. I think Rashid, I believe that's, if I'm saying his name right. He was pretty much the best receiver for this Chiefs team. And, everybody's saying, Mahomes, he doesn't need, a number one receiver, this, that, and the third. He needs Travis Kelce. He's a big deal. He matters. Ultimately, he can only do so much with all the drops that were happening in Kansas City on Thursday night. And the Lions kind of came out and showed you, like, hey, like, we're a team that's here in the NFL, and we can win pretty much any given night. And, Amon-Ra St. Brown, top 100 player. I think he's the ultimate slot guy. He's going to get open in any which way possible. We saw Montgomery kind of come out and kind of pound the ball a little bit. Wish Jahmyr Gibbs would have got a little bit more carries, but he seems very explosive. And I think Josh Reynolds played really well in this game too. In the defense, I thought Aiden Hutchinson, Michigan man, got a lot of pressures on the quarterback and was forcing a lot of havoc on Patrick Mahomes, and he was pretty much under duress a lot. And we saw CJ, Kev's old boy, have some good tackles. And I thought he played well in the secondary and had some key stops late in the game. So this Lions team is going to be, forced to be reckoned with. I do have them going to the playoffs. Don't have them winning the division. I do have them winning the playoff or getting to the playoffs. And yeah, I think this was absolutely an upset. I don't think anybody picked, even if Travis Kelce was not going to play or not.
None of us did.
I don't think anybody would have thought that the Lions were going to. There were some bettors out there that definitely put some money on the Lions, but not knowing that the Lions were going to win and that was going to be a lock. But I think I wouldn't say the Chiefs have to panic, but it's like the Chiefs aren't invincible. Them being the defending Super Bowl champs, it's not like all roads lead through Kansas City, this, that, and the third. There's I think the AFC, it's not a lock that KC is going to be the number one seed. I'll just say that.
And I just want to give a quick shout out to Kevin's wife, Alyssa, who immediately did not miss the opportunity. And she came for us on our Instagram at Stats Over Politics right after the game because we all picked the Chiefs. And I think her comment was like, oh, y'all picked the Chiefs, huh? And I hopped on our account and I just sent the freezing cold takes emoji because we all started 0 for 1 in our picks. And so, Kevin, what did you think about this game as the Lions upset the Chiefs?
I'm kind of upset, man. Me and Toddy talked a lot about this, and everything out of my mouth was Detroit. And he's like, well, they got Patty. And I said, well, it's Detroit. They're going to come in here and get the dub. I sent him the ticket. First game.
7:30 in the morning.
I said, Toddy, I'm feeling good. I said, if there's no Kelce, I'm cashing it. I'm going all in. No Kelce. I said, all right, they have no Kelce. What are they going to do? There is no number one wide receiver. What are we going to see? Kadarius Toney was in and out all training camp with an injury. So I was really looking forward to seeing a Justin Ross take over. I think his first name was Justin, the Clemson receiver. Mm-hmm. Everyone knows his story. We saw all the videos of him in training camp and preseason. So I was really expecting him to come out and really do a show. But that's enough talk about the Chiefs. Let's talk about the Detroit Lions. Since starting off 1-6 in 2002, they are now 9-2 in their last 11 games. Jared Goff went out there and did Jared Goff things. A couple weeks ago, we had a factor cap. Is Jared Goff the best quarterback in the NFC North? And there was a lot of no's. I don't think anyone said yes. I didn't look at the video, but I don't think no one said yes. So for him to go out there and go 22 of 35 for 253 yards, he hasn't thrown a pick since week 8 of last year. 359 straight passes with no picks. He is 44 more passes away from taking over the most passes without an interception in NFL history. So the Lions are doing what the Lions expected to do. Amon St. Ra is doing what we expected him to do without Jameson Williamson being there, being his number 2. All attention is on him, and they really came out there and did his thing. And David Montgomery, I think, was a huge addition for them. They lost Jamal Williams, and he was really their power back, and they lost Swift. So bringing in the two running backs that they have now really was supposed to help boost them up and get them to what they were last year. So I'm really looking forward to what the Lions can do.
Well, Jaevon and Khalil, our friend Khalil, are thinking the same thing because Khalil, we'll get to the Packers game in a bit, but he says Jay Love is the top dog in the North. Mm-hmm. And so, Gary, I just want to get your thoughts on this game, as not only does Chris Jones, he's going to be returning as he gets some more incentives in the final year of his contract, but the Lions, they beat the Chiefs 21-20.
As you guys know, I wasn't able to put this on record on the podcast, but as you guys know, Chiefs are my Super Bowl winning team this year. I got them going back-to-back to win the bowl. So, yeah, I mean, the Lions, right, safe pick. But, hey, a lot of people are counting the Chiefs out now because, like you just kept mentioned, they don't got they don't have a number one wide receiver. And all the Chris Jones talk, obviously now he's going to be back with his new contract coming here soon. But I just feel like that, the Lions are a team that, that was always been counted out, and people have been overhyping them this offseason. Hyping them, not overhyping them. And, they give credit where credit is due. They showed up versus Super Bowl champs when they're bringing down a banner, and they got to win by one. A win by one is a win in the NFL, but I would just say that they're going to be bright. Chiefs are nothing to worry about, nothing to sweat it at all. Vaughn, I disagree with you. I do think they're going to get the number one seed still. And I do believe everything has to go through Arrowhead. I'm pretty sure everything has to go through Arrowhead Stadium. I think everything has to go through KC in the AFC. And I think I don't think there's not too much to worry about, just because at the end of the day, they weren't having they didn't have no options or anything like that in terms of number one receivers. But as we know, Patrick Mahomes, he could do the Tom Brady role where he can spread it out and give it to guys, and guys just weren't making plays. Simple as that. There was a lot of drop passes, a lot of miscommunication. So I feel like those things can get tightened up, especially with the Hall of Fame coach they have in Andy Reid. So I just feel like those things are going to get cleaned up. They played a great team, a lot of momentum in the Lions, like you guys just mentioned, coming from ending last year great and coming into this season with still the same type of momentum and adding a lot of the additions they added in this offseason. So I don't think it's a bad loss. I feel like probably it's going to be overall, again, like a couple years ago, it's a good loss for the Chiefs because they can, wake up a little bit, and they know that, they already know the teams are going after them, but they're going to really have to put the nail in the coffin in some of these situations, and they're going to have to be more uptight because they don't got that guy, Tyreek Hill, like we seen yesterday. They don't got that magic man to do crazy things no more. So it is closer, like you guys said. It's not a complete, we shift the Super Bowl rings to KC, shift the AFC Championship already to KFC. It's going to be as we know, AFC is really deep, so it's going to be a dogfight there. But I still believe in this Chiefs team, and I feel like they're still great. They still just had a little hiccup against a great team, a come up team, but I don't feel like there's not too much to worry about still.
And for the final game that we're going to talk about in depth, and the reason why we're going to talk about this game in particular is not only it was an upset in the Battle of Ohio between the Browns and the Bengals, as the Browns beat the Bengals 24-3, but the other news that's relevant is that Joe Burrow, he got a contract extension this past week, 5 years, $275 million. That includes $219.01 million guaranteed, making him the highest paid player in NFL history, but had a bit of a stinker in his first game since getting that money, as Joe Burrow is now 1-5 in 6 career starts versus the Browns. He averages about 260 passing yards per game. He's totaled 10 touchdowns and 5 interceptions through those 6 games, and this was his first career game under 100 passing yards, as he was 14 for 31 for 82 yards, and shout out to ESPN for that stat as well. And so, Gary, I'm going to toss this right back to you because this is your division, being the AFC North. And so, were you shocked by this outcome, or are the Browns going to be a little more formidable than we really expect?
No, I wasn't shocked about this. I think we did have a Deshaun Watson discussion here. I feel like he was going to this Browns team has talent. This Browns team is, they've been flying under the radar because of their situation. They've been paying Deshaun Watson, things of that nature. And plus we have so much other firepower, like you mentioned, Shaun, in this division. But I do feel like the Browns are not a team to sleep on, especially like you mentioned, they have been having Joey Burrow's number this so far in his career. So this is a team they probably plays worst against. And, got to give the Browns credit where credit is due. I did feel like Deshaun Watson will be stepping up more like mid-season towards the end of the year. I feel like, by the time then he can get cooked up and maybe get close to his old ways. I still believe him as going to be a good player for this team to watch out for. But man, oh man, only scoring 3 points is making my Steelers look like we actually did something on Sunday, to be honest with you. And it's I didn't really watch this game too much, to be honest with you guys. I know we're flipping through other games, to be honest, but I just kind of reminds me of last year where they kind of had a slow start. And we already mentioned that Joe Burrow last year had an injury coming into the offseason, so he didn't get to have training camp. And same thing basically this year, didn't get to have a training camp as well. So I feel like it's kind of the same situation last year. It's also kind of weird, like, they keep spending money on their old line, and their old line still stinks. Like, he's still running out. He still has to do a lot of magical things for them, for the Bengals. And if anyone could do it, it is Joe Shiesty, to be honest with you, because he got guys like Jamar Chase, and we all know. I don't know if you guys know, but there's a major trade in our Stats Over Politics league that I think Shaun got Mr. Higgins in a trade that he was wanting. So I guess he's high on Higgins.
I lost Purdy.
You lost Purdy. All right, yeah. But I was about to say, like, at least you're going to get, hopefully you can get him cooking here soon. I just feel like, there's not too much again to worry about with the Bengals. They're going to get cooking. It's a bad matchup for them. Everyone, there's always a team in the NFL that has your number, and I feel like the Browns have the Bengals number at the moment. So we'll see if that tide turns. But yeah, Shaun, I feel like the Browns are a team that should not be slept on. They're going to be fighting every game because all the talent they have. And I don't think the Bengals should worry too much, even though it is a little bit head-scratching to see this so much a high-powered offense only not even score a touchdown. So that's the only thing that's kind of like you couldn't even get a touchdown. And I think I seen the stat today on the internet. I think this is like the worst game by a quarterback with the least amount of yards with this many pass attempts. I think over 25 pass attempts, having like under 100 yards, like in terms of top 10 QBs. And so Joe Burrow is on a bad list right there. But if anyone can flip the switch, it is that man right there, because when he get going and he gets his whole team on the same page, they can get rolling. So I don't think they got too much to worry about still with the Bengals.
Well, Jaevon, I saw you hitting the guitar right there, and you were mimicking Deshaun Watson, a.k.a. what I like to call him, the nasty man. But anyways, the Browns, they beat the Bengals 24-3. And so, Jaevon, I know that you, me, and Garry, we were all locked in on the 49ers and Steelers game, but it was a bad performance for Joe Burrow and the Bengals. And what did you think about that? Or what did you think about this contract extension, making him the highest paid player in the NFL?
Yes, while we were eating our breakfast burrito, shout out to Soap.
Immaculate
man, I saw
breakfast
that.
burrito.
Shit looked delicious.
Yeah.
Food and beverages came with it. Sunday ticket, foot massages.
Sunday ticket. Red Zone was definitely on the
YouTube
iPad.
TV. I ain't gonna lie, that shit was clutch, man.
Yeah, YouTube.
A little split multi-view.
We had the multi-view was all going, so we were kind of flipping back and forth. So, going back to the game, I thought Deshaun Watson, he looked all right. It was raining. He was playing the guitar in the end zone. I think the real story of this game is the defense for the Browns. Denzel Ward, I feel like, kind of flies under the radar. I think we all kind of recognize his greatness, but I feel like a lot of people need to talk more about him on how effective he is in that secondary for the Browns. Myles Garrett is out there playing basketball against centers, apparently, and just causing havoc pretty much whenever he wants.
Freaking nature.
Nick Chubb is a stud. He's going,
Still
for the
trying.
hotline, I guess next week we just take Nick Chubb over in yards. Every time he's consistently gonna be able to get
for like 3 years now.
If you get the ball in Nick Chubb's hands, he's gonna consistently get you over whatever his yards are. I just feel like if Deshaun Watson can, be more not a game manager and kind of be the Deshaun Watson of old and just be able to take over games, this team can be the best, like one of the best teams in the league. But right now he's kind of playing at that medium level, like, all right, he's not going to lose you the game, but he can make, we're seeing certain flashes here and there, but he did make a couple of bonehead passes. Now, the weather was definitely a factor. It wasn't monsoon level to what it was last year when the Niners played the Bears, but, I don't think I had the Browns in the playoffs.
I didn't, but Khalil does.
I don't think I had the Browns in the playoffs, but if they keep playing the way that they're playing, they definitely have a shot. I mean, who knows? I mean, they're tied for first in their division. They beat the Bengals. Going to the Bengals, I mean, for God's sake, I mean, I saw Jamar Chase call the Browns elves, and I was like, "Whoa, where did that come from? Like, why do
He
you
called
give
them
them
after
any type
too.
of
All right.
any bulletin board material?" Joe Shiesty signing, he's the richest man in the league, I guess, right now. Didn't look good. This could, have something to do with he didn't play in preseason, was rehabbing the entire time. That could have something to do with the injury and him just not playing in the preseason. Joe Burrow's kind of notoriously been known for not really playing well in week one. I mean, Garry knows last year, the Mitch game, as I like to call it, as they kind of went toe to toe with Mitch Trubisky, and I think Joe Burrow threw like 4 or 5 picks, something insane.
I think 4.
They ultimately ended up losing that game, and he kind of just incrementally gets better. And then I think the next week he throws like 4 touchdowns, and 3 of them goes to like Jamar Chase. So I'm not too worried about the Bengals per se, but I feel like you can't really start off slow in this AFC because it's the Wild Wild West in the AFC, because there's quarterbacks everywhere in that conference, and if they get, let's just say they drop another game, and it's going to be hard to just let alone win the division. And there are so many other teams in that conference that are like, hey, we're here, we have our quarterback, we're going to be able to, if we're able to just win games and just stay ahead of the curve, then we'll be all right. But this AFC conference is just going to be tough to make the playoffs. For God's sake, the Raiders are in first place in their division. Like, it's all over the place. So a bunch happened this weekend, so can't wait to get to it more. But I mean, the Jets are in first place in their division. They don't even have Aaron Rodgers, so lots to uncover, lots to unpack.
Well, Kevin, the name that I heard Jaevon mention as a big playmaker in that game was Denzel Ward from the Ohio State University in this Battle of Ohio. And so what did you think about this matchup? And Joe Burrow, a guy who started at the Ohio State University, he underperformed in this game. And so just what are your general thoughts on this game or Joe Burrow becoming the highest paid player in the NFL?
Another Ohio State guy.
I was about to say, man, are we DBU too? I mean, shit. We don't have to have that conversation here. But
we've been saying it for years.
Marshawn Lattimore went nuts. Just saying.
Marshawn did. He went crazy.
Marshawn went nuts. But getting into this, with this contract, $55 million, Ellis was like, oh, so like, what are the rest of the quarterbacks signed? And I told her like the order it went in. She was like, oh, so how much did this guy make? I said, more than this guy, this guy, this guy, this guy. Mm-hmm. And she was like, oh, well, how long does it last? I said, probably about 2 days. It's 2-3 days. I told her like when Jalen Hurts hit the group chat, it's boom, richest contract in history. And it's like, all right, 2 days later, boom, Lamar Jackson, boom, Justin, boom, and it's just on and on and on. So now the Chiefs are like, damn, we got to 56.
We got to go back to Pat.
We got to give 56.
Yeah.
He said if he's getting 55, we'll give you 56. But that
shit,
I mean,
let's talk about Dak.
Jeez, I hope not. But I'm really looking forward to what the Browns are going to do. Toddy, what he mentioned, he took everything I was going to say, man. I'm really looking forward to Amari Cooper and just getting back to seeing Deshaun Watson of old when he was in the AFC Championship game with the Houston Texans. I repeat, the Houston Texans.
Billy O.
DeAndre Hopkins, the Watt, bro. This is the Texans of old. But if we can get that level of Deshaun Watson, I don't know why they can't make the AFC Championship game. It's going to be hard to go against 15. Like Garry mentioned, baby go. It's going to be hard to do it. But I'm looking forward to seeing what the Browns are going to do, and I'm just excited to see Deshaun Watson get a full 17-game season.
It'll be interesting for sure. All right, guys. Well, that's going to do it for our in-depth coverage of NFL Week 1, but we got to talk about all the games in general. So now let's just get to our real quick rundown. Kevin, I'm going to toss it back to you first for this first game. Let's try to keep our thoughts between 15 to 30 seconds just to keep this rolling as the Ravens beat the Texans 25-9. The news from that game is J.K. Dobbins tore his ACL and he's out for the season.
So, fun fact, C.J. Stroud joins a very unique club of 2 people. So the stat is the first player since Brett Favre since 1992 to catch his very first completion. So that was nuts in itself. But C.J. Stroud, man, we talked about in the group chat. This is what Caleb Williams is sitting back saying, see, y'all want me to go do this? For what? What am I going ahead and do this for when I can stay at USC and make comfortable NIL money? But, we mentioned J.K. Dobbins. It's horrible to see, where we show a lot of Ohio State love, and to see him face another injury. I was in another fantasy league group chat, and they're like, is this going to be the end of J.K. Dobbins? And I really hope not, but you have to think about it. He's so young, and to have all these injuries back to back to back, being an athlete, just the mental that kind of puts you through. So prayers up to J.K. Dobbins, man.
Jaevon, the Buccaneers beat the Vikings 20-17. Shout out to Wes.
Baker Mayfield is for real. Might pick him up in my fantasy. Who knows?
For real.
I just thought that, the Vikings, I texted Wes. I sent him a nice little text message. I'm pretty sure Kevin probably knows about this text message. I just want to check up on him. I sent Manny a similar text. Didn't hear back from him. But I thought this Bucks team is showing you, like, hey, we got a bunch of these guys still from the Super Bowl team. Like, we can still come out and ball. We got a competent quarterback who's been in the playoffs, can win you games. As far as the Vikings go, I thought J.A., Jordan Addison, USC guy, kind of balled out today. Justin Jefferson did what he did, but didn't really get targeted in the second half as much. Kirk is going to be what Kirk is. He's going to turn the ball over at some point in time in the game. And their defense is a travesty. They're going to have to figure out what they need to do. I feel like they missed Dalvin Cook a lot more than they thought they would. But maybe the Bucks aren't as bad as we think.
Well, Garry, the Saints beat the Titans 16-15.
Thought you were gonna throw me a different game. Saints beat the Titans. Nah, that was a good game by the Saints. It was just an ugly game as always. We were talking about that yesterday, Vaughn, where no matter what the coach for, I'm trying to forget his name right now for the Tennessee right now, but he always is Mike Vrabel always is gonna have his team ready no matter what. I don't even know what weapons really on this team like that. Like, I don't trust Tannehill at all, so I don't even know how they're still in contention for all these years and just still even fighting in games, like not getting blown out in games and every game they're in. So shout out to the Tennessee Titans for always being in games. But like we said, we see Derek Carr in a new uniform, and he was looking good. He made that big play at the end where they finally needed him to make a play. That's one of the reasons when they got a vet like him to seal the deal. And man, oh man, it is paying off for them. The Saints, like we mentioned, are going to be in this division against probably the Bucks. Him and Baker, I guess, be going for it to see who's going to win this division. So I feel like this was a pretty good start for the Saints. And again, they might be like another sneaky team like we see, maybe like the Seahawks like we seen last year, a sneaky team that no one really seen coming in terms of not having high expectations, and slowly but surely keep racking up wins and they become a force to be reckoned with. So I can see the Saints slowly but surely getting there.
The Saints are going to win their division, so they're not going to be sneaky. Kevin, the Falcons beat the Panthers 24-10.
Hey, man. Only two of us believe, Toddy. Only two of us believe, man. It was all this Bryce Young hype. But the Falcons were going to come in there and do what they did. And Bijan Robinson, his first touchdown, looks like all the highlights we've seen all training camp. A juke this way, a juke that way, and he's in the end zone, man. See number 7 back in the end zone. Reminiscing on my Michael Vick days, man, really made me happy. But Drake London, 0 points in fantasy. Killed me. Killed me.
Me too.
But moving forward, I'm excited to see what Desmond Ridder does. And, Kyle Pitts got to do his thing. He has a competent quarterback. And I think Desmond Ridder can be a lot better than Marcus Mariota. So I'm interested to see what the Falcons can do this year.
Jaevon, the Jaguars beat the Colts 31-21.
I thought Rich looked actually really solid in this game. Shane Steichen brought up a hell of a game plan for him. I was saying, Shaun, pause. Anthony Richardson looked very big on the field just compared to everybody. Like, he just looks like he's bigger than everybody else.
You also said no homo.
Mammoth of a man. I think he has some stuff he needs to clean up. I think he looks legit. He looks like a solid athlete. He got hurt at the end of the game, but he said he's fine, just a knee bruise. I think Indianapolis should be very excited about Anthony Richardson. Ultimately, they came away and lost the game because I think the Jags are on a different path. But Calvin Ridley put down the parlays and got to scoring touchdowns again. So it looks like he didn't skip a beat, and he looks like he's the
should
real
have picked
deal.
him my fantasy. Has some chances.
I definitely had Calvin Ridley sitting on my bench in my other fantasy league. I'm starting to kind of figure out a little bit. And I didn't even know that I beat Kevin, apparently. I was so focused on – I already said this. I predicted
the Cowboys,
this,
bro. That 34 points
early
fucking
in the
won you that
season.
game.
I said I'm not going to be paying attention to my fantasy team due to my parlays. but I'm just gonna try and keep up and
Mr.
make sure I'm
Autodraft.
starting whoever needs to be started. But this game was a lot closer than I thought it would have been.
Garry, the Dolphins beat the Chargers 36-34.
All right, guys. I already been saying it. I need to stamp it again just to remind y'all. Tyreek Hill is the best wide receiver in the league. Ain't no doubt about it to me. I feel like he's in a class of his own now. Kev, you can take this all you want to take it. Then, man, I don't care how small he is or anything. His speed makes he burns people so bad that he's wide open constantly. He's making Tua look so great. And Tua's doing his thing. He's being solid, especially that one throw, fade corner to Tyreek, right in the money in the bread basket. And Tyreek didn't have to do nothing with that. But, man, oh, man. He's literally a game changer. Look, I seen Rich Eisen, I think today, he described it perfectly. He's really a video game, like just a video game, bro. Like you can't stop him. If you got to double team, I don't know what they were doing yesterday, the Chargers. And again, so I just want to say that for the Dolphins, I kind of regret not putting them in my playoffs. I was really thinking about that. I just regret that already, to be honest with you, because they look so explosive and fun to watch. Can't wait to see them more this year because they're a team that's really cool to watch. That's why I was telling you to put that game on in the corner yesterday. And real quick, Chargers. Same old, bro. I was talking about this yesterday. I love Justin Herbert. He's a great quarterback. Just watching him play, feel like he makes the right plays at the right time. Trust his guys. Everything just just a real good, great quarterback in my opinion. But at the end of the day, it's just I don't know what. It's just small. I keep going back to the coach. But I don't know why I keep going back to the coach. Everyone keeps blaming the coach. But they're just not clutch. They're just not clutch, and I don't know how they're going to get clutch because it's not the first time they keep losing these close game nail-biters where they basically lose at the very, very end. I remember a couple years ago, they basically lost, I think, was it to the Raiders to punch my Steelers into the playoffs, and them got disqualified. So they just been knocking at that door slowly but surely. Brandon Staley's probably going to get fired here soon if they keep doing this because they just can't be clutch. Simple as that. No matter how smart you are, you got to be clutch in this league in this moment, especially when you got that guy. You got that guy and those weapons with all those defensive guys too. It shouldn't have been happening what was happening yesterday, to be honest with you. So the Chargers got a lot of questions, to be honest with you. They should be looking at themselves in the mirror. But Miami, Tyreek Hill, best wide receiver in the league. Book it.
I should have known that the Chargers just always seem to find a way to lose. Like they find a way to lose. Jaevon, I'm gonna toss this to you just because this kind of was the Caleb Williams game as the Commanders beat the Cardinals 20-16.
Caleb Williams, that was crazy. Sam Howell looked how I thought he would look, very pedestrian. Josh Dobbs looked, I thought, pretty solid. The Cardinals kind of, made it very interesting. I didn't think the Cardinals would make it interesting at all. This was definitely a rock fight, as I like to say here on the show. This game kind of could have went either way because Shaun is calling it the Caleb Williams game because these teams could definitely be in contention for the number one pick due to lack of quarterback play. And ultimately, the Cardinals do have Kyler Murray, but we don't know if he's going to actually play this year. And, the fire didn't really get lit, as Jonathan Gannon kind of was hoping that it would instill into his players. But, Commanders get the win. Magic Johnson gets his first win as an owner for the football team or the Commanders, whatever they call themselves now. But ultimately, I thought, this game was really watchable. And, it would pop up on a red zone here and there, and you'd be like, oh, Cardinals are winning. That's got a scoop and score. That's nice. So, and then, you kind of check the box score at the end of the day and be like, oh, the Cardinals kind of made it close.
Yeah, and, this next game, I want to talk about it myself because I have some apologizing to do. As the Raiders, they beat the Broncos 17-16. First time, the Raiders haven't lost to the Broncos since 2019 when Drew Lock was their quarterback. Shout out to my friend Isaac for telling me about that stat. And Jaevon, I left your apartment yesterday at halftime of all the afternoon games just so I could go to Isaac's apartment and try to troll him as the Raiders, I thought were going to lose that game, but they ultimately won 17-16. And so shout out to Isaac. I'm sorry. I was wrong. I actually found myself rooting for the Raiders just because I wanted to see Jimmy G have success at his next stop. And so, I root for success for the Raiders until their fans start getting crazy. When their fans start talking crazy, that's when the hate comes back out. But for right now, I'm happy for the Raiders. I'm happy for their fans. Congratulations. You're in first place in the AFC West. Marcellus, don't think that I didn't see your comment earlier. How about them Raiders, Shaun? Yeah, they won their first game. They're in first place in the
Who they
AFC
play
West
next
right
week?
now, but
Broncos
they're
in
not going to
trouble.
win the AFC West. Kevin, clip this just in case if this is the all-time freezing take. But the Raiders aren't going to win the AFC West in 2023. As Garry likes to say, no way, no how. That shit is not happening. And, I apologize. I was wrong. The Raiders won week 1. I fall on the sword, but they're not going to win the damn AFC West. And
I think the
I
Raiders
would
got a
put
bye next week.
a lot of... How would they have a bye
No,
in
they
week 2?
don't
There's
buy.
nowhere.
They start by like
but-
week 8.
Anyways, congrats to the Raiders. Congrats to all their fans. You're in first place right now, so enjoy it while it lasts. Kevin, the Packers, they beat the Bears 38-20.
Damn.
Wait, Buffalo.
All off season, I've been talking about Justin Fields gonna take this Jalen Hurts lead. He's got DJ Moore, he's got his AJ Brown, he's got his Stephon Diggs, he's got his Tyreek Hill.
He don't got
And,
no
you
line.
know, DJ Moore got 2 targets, and they came on the same drive. You really saw the comparison of maturing a quarterback and what it really takes to develop in this league. We saw with Jordan Love being able to sit behind a Hall of Famer and learn the system, get the trust of the receivers early. We're throwing Justin Fields out there and saying, all right, man, show us what you can do. They're not really calling really good offensive plays for him. His first 7 drives, they had 7 penalties. Within those first 7 drives, he had 4 situations of 2 and 20 plus. So they were playing way behind the yard, so they were already setting themselves behind the 8 ball. And then they just don't have another wide receiver. I know Gary's guy is Chase Claypool, but I think the man is absolutely garbage. They need to make a move for Mike Evans. I know we brought in his DJ Moore, but we have to give Justin Fields another weapon. So I think the
Don't
best
say Mike there.
Mike Evans
cannot save this team.
Do not say Mike there. Don't do that to Mike. He's been a good soldier out there in Tampa.
All right, man. They got the money to pay him.
Nice.
Why not?
Send him
Chicago
something nice.
needs a quarterback, not a running back.
He's a
Jaevon,
quarterback, you
so-
said?
Yes.
He's trolling right now.
He's trolling like a motherfucker. I don't know if
I just
y'all
don't
saw
think he
when
got no
tagged
line.
me
He ain't
in
got no
talking
help.
about keep the same energy for Trey Lance that we're on for Justin Fields.
Yeah.
It's not the same. It's not the same at all.
Yeah, he's 5-23. It's worse.
Hey,
the
that's
Chicago
worse.
Bears.
It's
What do you expect?
I mean, hey,
What?
other guys
A
out
what?
there-
B, C? There's nothing he can do in Chicago.
he played very pedestrian this last game. He didn't really. His numbers were not great. I mean, I don't know what you want me to do. Brian Poles created a team around him. He's got name guys, DJ Moore. He's got his Devontae Adams. He's got this. He's got
His
that.
line,
Okay,
though,
you
is
do
still
you.
not good.
I mean, his line could be bad, but I mean, he's a runner, right? He's going to get you, 60 yards, 80 yards a game? That's where he should be able to, create plays. I just don't think he can read a defense very well. And, Kev came on this podcast and said that he's the best quarterback in this division.
Don't forget, they don't want Justin Fields to do good.
I
They
mean,
skipped him.
it's not even that I don't want him to do good. I just don't think he's good. I don't think he's good. I'm sorry. I just think he's very good at running the football. He's very good at, when the play breaks down to kind of make a play, he's very good at that. But when it kind of came, all right, I need you to sit in this pocket, make that 5-yard out pass. That's not what he's going to do. I think Jordan Love kind of showed that he was a little bit more comfortable. I kind of already mentioned that the team around him was actually really solid. Like their defense is actually pretty good. He's got good receivers, solid running back. I mean, like all Jordan Love, it's kind of just made up for him to kind of just go in and not fuck it up. He threw 245 yards and 3 touchdowns. He looked like one of the best quarterbacks on Sunday. And that's point blank period. His first start.
That'd be so crazy.
First career week 1 start. I have the Packers going 10-7, winning the division. It's not crazy to me that the Packers are one of the best teams in the NFC North. I mean, Fields. I mean, you could argue that Fields is going to run regardless if he has a line or not. I just don't think he can process a defense and make the right throw. I think he's an exceptional athlete. I think he has a cannon of an arm, but I just don't think that he can make the right throws as a quarterback, and that's kind of what's going to be that's what's going to hold him back pretty much. And
I hate it here.
Kyle Shanahan had the chance.
It's going to be pretty crazy, man.
At number 3, and we said no. We wanted Trey Lance, and ultimately that wasn't a great pick either. So it was kind of either really a pick your poison with all of these quarterbacks in that draft besides Trevor Lawrence. So it's kind of just like, I mean, I don't know what you want me to say. I just don't think Justin Fields is good. Everyone is kind of like, He doesn't have a line. This is his third year in the league. Okay, let's try to he's 5-23. Like it's like, all right.
Yeah, that's my birthday.
If you're gonna be this bad, we're gonna start to look elsewhere. And elsewhere is Caleb Williams.
All roads lead back to Caleb Williams.
If he's this bad and the Bears are bad and they have
a million degrees of Caleb Williams,
they're not gonna blink. Kevin, when I tell you they're not gonna blink if they have the chance to draft Caleb Williams and get rid of Justin Fields, they're going to 2.2. We're drafting Caleb Williams. See you later, Justin Fields. We've seen quarterbacks get moved on before. Obviously with the Cardinals, the 49ers were the last team to do it. Brock Purdy took us to the NFC Championship game. Trey Lance, gets hurt ultimately. And in training camp, he doesn't look like he's the guy. We trade him to the Cowboys. The league moves fast. So what have you done for me lately, league? I'm only going off what Kevin has told me, and I'm sticking to what's going on. He's 5-23. He can't win games.
I was just gonna say. But I know you're gonna say something about Justin Fields. Go on, just take that side remark away. But I was gonna say it's be pretty crazy if the Packers get this lucky with 3 straight good quarterbacks. That'd be pretty crazy, from Favre to Rodgers to Jay Love.
Let's slow down.
If he becomes a guy kid, that's pretty crazy. I'm not gonna lie, it's pretty crazy.
Okay, well,
And
what Jaevon is referencing right there for our audio only listeners is our friend Khalil said in the YouTube comments, Caleb Williams going to every team in the league if it's up to Toddy, and that's a fact. He wishes he could clone him and put him on 32 different teams. And yeah, Gary, I mean, I'm glad that you retracted your little side comment, because just because Jaevon feels some type of way about Justin Fields doesn't mean that we being 49ers fans are actively rooting against him. I'm rooting for Justin Fields. It has something to do with me being a fan of Ohio State, but I'm rooting for Justin Fields. I want to see him be successful. And if there was any indicator of how Jaevon feels about Justin Fields after he auto-drafted his fantasy team, now acquiring Brock Purdy from me after 1 week because he hates Justin Fields that much, that's an indicator of how Jaevon feels about Justin Fields, that he wants to replace him with Brock Purdy as his QB1. So, I mean, that says everything there.
Huh, Vaughn? That's why you didn't want to.
Well, we got to keep things moving, guys. And so, Jaevon, I'm going to toss this back to you because this is our division in the NFC West. As the Rams, they beat the Seahawks 30-13. And the news from this past week is that Cooper Kupp was placed on the IR with a hamstring injury. He's out at least for the first 4 games. But the Rams, they pull off the upset, and you can file that under things that I love to see, because Emmanuel, he didn't want to talk to any of us after this game.
Hey, Manny, they didn't write back. They're starting to write Gino back now. So all the letters that he ever wrote back to, they're starting to fill his inbox now. I just think that, Matt Stafford is a very capable quarterback. I think when healthy, he can be a top 10 quarterback. He's obviously won a Super Bowl. He didn't have guys. I mean, his number one guy was like Tutu Atwell and another guy that I've never really even heard of. Their defense, as Kevin likes to call
Puka Nacua.
JV defense. This is as JV as a defense can get. I mean, you can't really name anybody on this defensive front besides Aaron Donald. I mean, he was causing
he should retire.
We even saw a soundbite of Geno Smith.
Oh my God.
When Aaron Donald's coming out of face first. So, got to give it up to the coaching staff and Shaun. He's kind of coaching his ass off right now, overachieving a little bit against the Seattle Seahawks. And, maybe this just means that the Rams come in second because they ain't coming in first, because they got San Francisco coming to town next week. And boy, oh boy, I can't wait when, the varsity squad plays against the JV squad. That's what it's going to look like.
When we play you guys? Oh, talking about Seahawks, sorry.
Got you.
So, Kevin, this last game that we're going to talk about is your division, but I'm going to toss it to Gary because he finds himself surrounded by Cowboys fans as the Cowboys beat the Giants 40-0.
Jesus.
Yeah, guys, I went from hanging out with the Niner fans in the morning and talked to the dancing Cowboy fans that night. It was a great day.
Dancing is crazy.
I sent a video of my brother. They were dancing their head off. Uncle Manny and Jesse were going crazy in the living room. But hey, you know what? Shout out to the Cowboys. They came out and showed up. They kicked the Giants' ass, and man, scoring 0 points with 40, and Dak weren't even that good. This defense, they're knocking at the door for one of the best defenses in the league. We have a lot of defense, like the Niners defense that we've seen this weekend, and their defense right there. So those two defenses, put a very big showing out last night, and you got to give credit where credit is due. I'm still a little bit iffy when they play a comparable team, a team with a quarterback that's actually good. Then we'll see if they actually put the numbers up like they did yesterday. So I feel like I got to give credit where credit is due yesterday. And again, you can't take nothing away from the Cowboys fans last night. All thing you could say is let's see when they actually play some good teams if they can get it done.
I mean, I was dancing too because I definitely had a Cowboy ticket last minute. But
I got attacked at the grocery store by a Cowboys fan. I was in my Eagles jersey. He's like, not this year. I said, you have Dak Prescott as your quarterback. Get the fuck out of my face. like there's nothing to do. But before we move on to this, I just have to throw this out there because Toddy was all offseason talking about how the Dallas Cowboys have the best secondary in the NFL.
They do.
Darius Slayton, Jalen Hyatt, Sterling Shepard.
Oh, God.
That's what Gilmore and Diggs was killing it yesterday, though.
Yeah, they were.
Let's not shake the world off of that receiving core is.
Bradbury got hurt yesterday.
30 through 32. I'm just saying. Let's not make it seem like they played the Niners.
Cowgirls.
We them girls.
Hold on. Wait. I fucked up on the producing there, but do you guys hear that? Because I know I hear that.
Time.
Uh-oh.
The music's back?
Only for this segment because I don't have to worry about TikTok or anything. But yeah, you guys hear that music? It's time for Shaun's pop quiz.
Jesus
it's back.
Christ.
I heard when I was gone for those 2 weeks that Kevin throwing a little bit of shade towards Shaun's pop quiz, saying, "Hey, Factor Cap, arguably the best segment on Stats Over Politics." I disagree because I'm biased, obviously, but it's time for Shaun's Pop Quiz WNBA edition. And the reason why we're doing another WNBA Pop Quiz, gentlemen, is because the WNBA playoffs start on Wednesday. And with this being the 50th episode of Stats Over Politics, this is good news for Garry and Jaevon. I've decided after today's episode, we are going to reset the scores.
But I got a chance, guys.
Kevin,
I got a chance.
Kevin,
you won.
The good news for Kevin is that you won. You won season 1 of Shaun's Pop Quiz. No matter what happens today, Kevin is the victor because through the various episodes that we've had, Kevin has 24, Jaevon has 19, and Garry has 14. So we'll see if
non-plays. Don't forget that.
Okay, well, we want you to stop talking about that. So we're resetting the score, and you're here now. And so anyways, Kevin, you will be our victor for Shaun's Pop Quiz Season 1, but we're going to kick things off with you since you are in first place. It's lonely at the top for Kevin, so lonely that we have to reset the scores because he's dominating you guys too much.
Just after today, right?
After today. The scores reset after today. So here's Shaun's Pop Quiz, WNBA edition, because the WNBA playoffs do start on Wednesday. Kevin, your question is first. And Garry, Jaevon, you know the deal. If you want to try to steal, put a finger up. I'll keep an eye on you guys and keep it moving.
My mic on this one.
Get your fingers up.
All right, Kevin. So this team, and this is WNBA, this team won the Commissioner's Cup in August. Keeping it simple. So one more time for our audio-only listeners as we're back with Shaun's Pop Quiz. I see you, Garry. You are first for the steal. Shaun's Pop Quiz, WNBA edition. The question is, this team won the Commissioner's Cup in August. Kevin, what is your response?
They're the orange team, so I'm going to go with the Connecticut, whatever their name is. Is that right?
Connecticut Sun is incorrect. Garry, what's your guess?
Las Vegas Aces.
That is also incorrect. Jaevon?
Damn it.
The Dream?
That is also incorrect. The answer is my favorite team, the New York Liberty. Too late. I'm not gonna let you guess. Yeah, Sabrina was on there. Anyways, so no one gets the point there. Now we're moving on to Jaevon. We're gonna keep this quick, I promise. So, Jaevon, your question is: this player recently surpassed 10,000 points and said today that she'll be back for her 20th season next year.
Candace Parker?
That is incorrect. Garry or Kevin, do you want to try to steal? Or do we just...
Is it Diana Taurasi?
Ding, ding, ding.
Wow.
Kevin gets a point.
Follow on TikTok.
Jaevon, I thought I gave you a lob right there. This player, being Diana Taurasi, recently surpassed 10,000 points, and she'll be back for her 20th season next year.
Shout
So
out Diana.
Kevin gets a point. He's now up to 25. And I'm going to keep track of that because now that we're going to enter a second season of Shaun's Pop Quiz, I want to see, Kevin, if you can top your own score. So final question here for Garry. No bonus question this week. But Garry, here is your question. This team will be the number 1 seed in the playoffs that begin on Wednesday. So one more time, Shaun, I see you, Kevin. Shaun's Pop Quiz, WNBA edition. Garry, your question is, this team will be the number 1 seed in the playoffs that begin on Wednesday. What's your guess, Garry?
Going back-to-back, the same answer. Las Vegas Aces.
Ding, ding, ding. That is
real?
correct.
Oh,
nice
yeah.
job.
You said for
By
real.
the skin of their by the skin of their teeth, the Las Vegas Aces held off the New York Liberty to retain the number 1 seed. So they'll be
Damn it,
entering the
what's the point
playoffs
next
on
week?
Wednesday. Yeah, well, too bad. Anyways, so final score of season 1 of Shaun's Pop Quiz. Kevin wins with 25. Jaevon gets second place with 19. And Garry has 15, but Garry will tell you that he had several DNPs. So there you go. That's it for Shaun's Pop Quiz season 1. I appreciate you guys for participating as always. And that's it for Shaun's Pop Quiz this week. Now it's time to get to arguably, debatably, the best segment on this show, that being Factor Cap with Kevin. So let's get right to it, Kevin. I'll get the questions loaded in as you get us started.
Perfect. So Garry made the crazy. Hold on. Before I go start off, I didn't give any homework this week. It's gonna be all off the noggin. Just want to put that out there for the audio only listeners. So
I was wondering.
Garry really had my mind spinning when he made this comment. So I'm gonna go to you first, Garry. Factor Cap. Calvin Ridley's record of 1,960.
Johnson.
Calvin Johnson. Excuse me. I'm gonna start all over for TikTok. Factor Cap. Calvin Johnson's record of 1,964 receiving yards in a season will never be broken. Factor Cap.
Cap is getting broken this year by Mr. Tyreek Hill himself. He already started off game 1 with a bang. As long as Tua is healthy, that man will pass it. His eye is already on the prize. He's already talking about it. He's speaking it to an existence. Shout out to the Dolphins because they're going to be cooking with that offense. And that man, Cheetah, he's about to get that. He's about to go grab that easily.
All right, Shaun, I'm gonna go to you next. But if your answer is Brandon Ayuk, I'm gonna end the stream. I just want you to know. I'm gonna end the stream. Factor Cap. Calvin Johnson record of 1,964 receiving yards will never be broken. Factor Cap.
I'm going to say Cap, but I don't have an answer for you on who's going to break it. I could throw out a bunch of names, not being Brandon Ayuk, maybe in a couple years, but records are meant to be broken. And so to say never, I say that's Cap, but it might stand for a really long time because if my memory serves correctly, Calvin Johnson broke Jerry Rice's record, and that stood for over 20 years. And so this record could be around for a long time, but to say never, I think that's Cap.
More
All right,
offense,
Teddy,
baby.
I'm gonna go to you next. Factor Cap. Calvin Johnson's record of 1,964 receiving yards in a single season will never be broken.
I'm gonna say that I think his record will be broken at some point in time, so I'm gonna say Cap. Garry kind of said that he thinks Tyreek Hill could be the guy to
This year.
to kind of take it over because he
That's
has
bold.
said that he
That's a
wants
TikTok
to take
clip
it over.
right there.
I don't know if it happens this year or if it's going to be Tyreek Hill, but I feel like he's in the conversation. I think Justin Jefferson's in the conversation because he's had the best 3-year start to any receiver ever, and I think it's more of a passing league now than it was when Calvin Johnson was playing, and they added more games, so it's more of an offensive league. The league is changing. Yeah, Khalil said Jetta's in the comments. So there is a bunch of receivers out there in this league who have the capacity to do it. But I don't know if it happens this year because, like Shaun said, it took 20 years or 30 years or however long it took for them to break Jerry Rice's record. So this record might stay under wraps for a little bit, but I think it will be broken at some point in time. So I'm going to say Cap. Just don't know when. And yeah, there's more games in the season now. So for him to do this in 16 games, at this time was insane.
Kevin Johnson, Megatron.
I'm going to have to steal that from Toddy. So answering the question, is Calvin Johnson's record ever going to be broken? I think this is cap. For us, like Toddy mentioned, he did this in 16 games. So for them to get an extra 17th game, I don't think it's really ever going to be compared the same just because they get that extra week. But if I were to say that anyone's going to break it, like Garry mentioned, it's probably be Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill, or like Khalil mentioned, is Justin Jefferson. For someone to break this record, you have to be the one and only guy. You're getting every reception. There is no B. There is no C. You're getting every pass. It's a lot. It's a passing league now. So for this to happen, when it wasn't a passing league, is really surprising. But that extra game is going to really put a lot of asterisks by these awards. So I'm going to say cap. I don't think this is
unless he gets it in 16, though, Kev. Unless he gets it in 16.
He gets it in 16, and that's nuts. So moving on. We're in the NFC West now, so I'm going to go to you first, Toddy. Factor cap. The Rams' big three of Matthew Stafford, Cooper Kupp, and Aaron Donald will end the season in LA.
Wait, so like you're saying they're going to get traded, or like what?
Do you think they'll end the season in LA? Factor cap.
I don't know what you're trying to like. They're not going to all. So you're saying like someone's going to end up trading is basically what you're saying.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, so I'll say that this is cap. I think that they all probably finish out the season. I don't think their season's going to go good, though. I don't know if they make the playoffs. I just think, the backlash of them, the fuck them pigs thing and them kind of, putting their team into the shitter and just, paying Matthew Stafford a shit ton of money.
Hey, they said fuck those picks.
Hey, got a ring, so that matters.
Don't have any draft picks. So I feel like they're going to try and kind of recuperate very slowly.
Shaun hates that.
But if they
Jaquaski Tart.
I mean, we already see that Matthew Stafford has been able to, get a win out of week one, but Cooper Kupp is obviously hurt. Hamstring injuries do linger throughout the season. Now, he was put on IR, and the minimum games that he can miss is 4 games. But that does not mean that he's going to be ready in 4 games. Like I said, hamstring injuries, they linger on throughout the season, and they can last almost the entire season. And I don't know if hamstring injuries ever really go away. He might be out there playing, not 100%, but if he's like 80% versus him being like 40%, he's going to go. Him being Cooper Kupp. But Aaron Donald, if he's going to continue to keep dominating, he's going to keep playing. Matthew Stafford is going to keep playing if they're going to keep paying him. So, he's happy to link up with his young guys because he's like 10 years older than pretty much everybody else on the roster. So, I'm going to say that this is cap that they do finish the year with each other.
All right, Shaun, I'm going to come to you next. The Rams' big three of Matthew Stafford, Cooper Kupp, and Aaron Donald will not finish the season in LA. Factor cap.
If Cooper Kupp didn't have a lingering hamstring injury, as Jaevon already spoke about, then I would say that this is a fact. But given his injury, to me, this is cap because Matthew Stafford, despite beating Manny's Seahawks, Matthew Stafford to me is only good for Little Caesars commercials at this point. So no one is going to want him. Damn. Cooper Kupp, he is still valuable, but because he's in his 30s now and he has a lingering hamstring injury, hasn't been the same since they won that Super Bowl and he won Super Bowl MVP. I think Cooper Kupp, his value has dropped, so the Rams probably won't want to trade him for less than they feel he's worth. And with a hamstring injury, they're not going to get what he's worth. Aaron Donald, I think the Rams franchise wants him to retire as a Ram, and they want him to go in the Hall of Fame as a Ram, all those good things throughout his entire career. So I think regardless of whatever his performance may be, even though it's still really good, Aaron Donald is a Ram for life. And so to me, this is cap. They will finish the season altogether in LA.
I'm coming to you next, Garry. Factor cap. The Rams' big three of Matthew Stafford, Cooper Kupp, and Aaron Donald will not finish the season in LA.
I think it's cap. Just real quick, just how Shaun basically laid it out. I just don't feel like none of these guys are going to be traded this season. But will it be here next season? I don't think so. I think Aaron Donald might retire, and I think Stafford might retire too. So I think maybe next year they won't be together, but this year, yeah, they're going to keep it together.
So to answer my own question, factor cap, will the Los Angeles Rams big three of Matthew Stafford, Cooper Kupp, and Aaron Donald be in LA to end the season? I'm going to say this is a fact. They will not be. I think they have their loyalty because they drafted Cooper
Cup.
Cooper Cup and Aaron Donald. They drafted those guys, so you can definitely see their loyalty there. But the odd man out is Matthew Stafford, and I was the big indicator for Matthew Stafford being that quarterback that can take that team that's, quote unquote, a quarterback away. We saw him do it with the Rams, and my biggest take before the season was maybe he gets traded to the Bucks. Maybe Baker Mayfield of old shows back up. Maybe the Vikings. Maybe the Vikings are ready to make that move, and so I think he can go be a quarterback that could change that team. And now that Aaron Rodgers is down, you never know. Matthew Stafford to the Jets. I was seeing a lot of stuff talking about Tom Brady, but I would lose my mind if Tom Brady came out of retirement. So I'm going to say this is a fact. I think Matthew Stafford might be the odd man out.
All right, Jaevon, you were talking about Vonny's hotline earlier and had a rough start, 1-3 in week 1, but you came back strong, undefeated, never lost, 4-0 this last week. And Jaevon is now 5-3 overall for Vonny's hotline. So we got to give credit where it's due. Something that Kevin would not want to do for you, Jaevon, but I will give you your credit. Not only with Vonny's hotline, but man, you have been on a hot streak on your own personal bets. So kudos to you. I'm so happy for you. And now, Jaevon, let's hear it. Let's hear your picks for this weekend in Vonny's hotline as Kevin had to depart, but we'll catch him again next week.
Well, just going back to last week, to start, we were in the shitter. Not even gonna lie. 1-3 last week. It was just a travesty. Been using that word a lot lately. It wasn't pretty. People were probably screaming at me, "You give me my money back! This, that, and the third. You told me to bet this." It's like, it's okay. Just keep calm. Just stay tuned for next week. We're gonna be okay. Everything's gonna be all right. So I was like, you know what? Ain't no way the Niners are gonna lose to the Steelers, right? So let's sprinkle. Let's go ahead. Let's take them -2.5. Niners win 30-7. So that had no
should have took Niners
whatsoever.
-22.5.
No problem whatsoever.
Whoa.
Then we're going to go to Saturday, the Saturday games. Old Deion, man. Something about Deion Sanders up in Boulder, Colorado. Everybody was, I don't know why people were so high on Nebraska, just how they looked against Minnesota the week prior on that Thursday, and just saying, they're going to be able to do this, that, and the third. And I was like, Shedeur Sanders is coming. Is first home game, Deion's home game. They're going to be rocking in Boulder. They were only like 2.5. 2.5. Deion. They ended up winning by like 3 scores. It wasn't even close. Ultimately Deion ends up getting the win. So Deion cashed. He was the sole win in week 1 for us. And then he ended up covering for us. And the game that kind of made me sweat the most was I don't even know if it was the most. It was very, very close. Oregon +7 or -7. Going to Lubbock, Texas, against Texas Tech, coming off a loss against Wyoming. It was very complicated on how this game went, and Oregon kind of came out hot early. Bo Nix throws like a 72-yard bomb to start the game, and I'm like, oh, Bo for president, Bo for Heisman, because Oregon looked like they were on a different level. And then Texas Tech was just somehow able to just run the ball, kind of control the clock, get on long drives, 12-play drives, 10-play drives, 11-play drives. Like, they were controlling the ball a lot early. And they were able to keep the ball on the ground, and Oregon wasn't really able to stop them. And pretty much late in the game, quarterback for Texas Tech ends up throwing a pick to Eric. He ends up throwing a pick early, or he ends up throwing a pick late to cover the spread, and bettors all over the country were screaming at their television. You can even ask. So I told you on Saturday, she was seeing my ups and my downs. It was insane. The last pick of Bonnie's hotline was Jets money line, baby. It wasn't pretty, but you probably pulled your hair out if you would have rode this with me, but it was not pretty at all. Like I already mentioned, Aaron Rodgers definitely goes down in the first drive. Zach Wilson has to come into the game, and now you're just like, it's going to be Zach Wilson versus Josh Allen. Who's the better quarterback? Ultimately, you're going to take Josh Allen, the cover boy, 10 times out of 10. Even after tonight's game, so taking Josh Allen over Zach Wilson. But Josh Allen pretty much lost them the game. I think I saw him say in a press conference that he was responsible for the loss, and absolutely you are, wholeheartedly. 4 turnovers. You're not going to win a lot of ball games, especially this defense. This Jets defense is going to be one of the top 5 defenses in the league, and they're able to get the job done. So, oh my God. And Shaun, I'm blanking out on the punt returner's name.
Xavier Gibson.
Xavier Gibson, the return man for the Jets. I need a jersey, man. Where can I purchase a jersey? Because want us some money. So those were the picks pretty much going into it. So I did say that I'm going to try and do 2 college, 2 NFL this week. But the college slate is so dog shit this week. There's not really that many good games. We're really
Got to make smart bets. Can't do it just to have college football.
I know, just to have college football in there. It's I like 9 a.m. kickoff. Kansas State, Missouri. Kansas State, Big 12 champions last year. Ended up beating TCU, who went to the college football playoff last year. I do like I do like K-State in that game. They are -4.5, but I'm going to just take them straight up at -195 in that game. Another game that I do like, I can't do it. I cannot do it. I can't really do college this week. It's too iffy. There's a lot.
You got the one though with K-State, right?
Yeah, I do have K-State on there.
Give us the money package, man. What's the money package this week?
I love the Saints Monday night. Right now they are they're -3. They're -3, and that's -120. They're going on the road against Carolina. I think Bryce Young's going to have a tough time against that defense. Although they are going to be the Panthers are going to be at home, but I just think Bryce Young is going to struggle early against a couple of these defenses, because I think the Falcons defense is very underrated. They got a lot of good dudes on their team, solid secondary, solid defensive front. This Saints team did not allow a touchdown this past week, and they have Demario Davis, Cam Jordan, Marshawn Lattimore, as Kevin and Shaun mentioned, from The Ohio State University this week. So Tyrann Mathieu is a guy I forgot to bring up. They just got a lot of dudes on this team, and I don't see the Panthers scoring a lot, so I'm gonna roll with them -3. Another game that another game I do love this week coming up. I love the Niners. I love the Niners, baby. We have a history with owning Sean McVay in the regular season. I'm not sure how many games in a row it is, like 6 or 7, something insane. Because
Don't they got shot in the playoffs though?
We're talking, in the regular season. So they're talking the NFC Championship game when they won the Super Bowl. Obviously, they beat us, but we beat them twice that year.
Thank you, Jaquaski Tart.
Yeah, it's hard to beat a good team 3 times that ultimately ended up winning the Super Bowl. Now, the Niners are -8 in this game because Vegas does not believe that this game against the Seattle Seahawks was really anything to parade over. Like, okay, yeah, you beat Geno Smith, and how good are the Seahawks really? And Vegas is telling you the Niners are for real. They beat the shit out of the Steelers on the road, and they're a really good football team. What I might do is from the 8, I might buy a point and go to 7. I think the Niners win by a touchdown, and this game could be a blowout. You could probably take the 8 and still be comfortable. Niners win by 2 scores.
What's the hotline doing? -8 or -7? I'm documenting it right here.
Oh no, I'm definitely taking the Niners. I'm buying the point and taking Niners -7.
Okay.
So Shaun, if you want to read off the picks that we have so far, I got
so
K-State.
far.
Go ahead.
Kansas State. Was that the Kansas State money line, or you got them minus the points?
Kansas State money line. They're -190.
Okay. All right. Perfect. So we got the Kansas State money line. We got the Saints versus the Panthers. The Saints -3, and we got the 49ers -7 because Jaevon's going to buy a point, go from -8 to -7. What's your final pick for the hotline this week?
Final pick for the hotline. I kind of went back and forth on this.
While you figure that out, I just have to tell our audience right now that's tuned in on YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. Jaevon is handing out free money right now. Like, he went 4-0 last week. If you just do a quick parlay, a 4-leg parlay of Vonny's
four-legged, get crazy. That's on you,
might
but
make some good money.
You might make some money. I'm gonna roll with KC money line. I think Travis Kelce comes back in this game. They're -160 at the moment. The spread is 3 points, but I think it might be a little bit closer than it needs to be. But I just think that KC's going to bounce back. Coming off the loss on Thursday night, they got a longer week to prepare. So a little bit 10 days. I would imagine Travis Kelce comes back. I would imagine the receivers don't drop every pass thrown to them. Canaries, Tony. And I just think Mahomes kind of comes back. It's like, all right, everybody's talking about us. We're last in the division. The Raiders are winning the division, and I think Mahomes is going to have a sour taste in his mouth and say, "Hey, I'm going to show you why I'm the best quarterback in the league." So Mahomes money line. So going back to reviewing all of the picks, we have K-State -195 money line. That's straight up. We have the Saints -3 on Monday Night Football next week. It's going to be a two-part. I think the Browns and the Steelers play. Don't y'all play on Monday night next week, Gary?
Yep.
Yeah, so they play, I think, the first game. So the Saints play the first game. Or second game.
Oh, Steelers play the second game, yeah.
Yeah. The Saints play the first game, so they're -3. And then we have the Niners. Of course, gotta have the Niners on the lake. Come on, man. Gotta have the Niners on the lake. Niners -7. Purdy looked great in his return back. And, Matthew Stafford, who is he really throwing the ball to? I mean, this defense, he's going up against the best defense in the league he's going against the best defense in the league, in my opinion. So I think that this Niners team is going to make that offense look very pedestrian, not really going to know what they're able to do with the football, and the Niners are going to score points. And we're going to our second home, Niners South, baby, in SoFi Stadium. And then with the final pick, we got to roll with Mahomes, man. Got to roll with Mahomes. Mahomes off a loss. Andy off a loss. They're scheming up whatever they can. Travis Kelce's going to be coming back. Travis Kelce might score 2 touchdowns. He might be able to sprinkle a little bit of cash on that too as well. And the Chiefs are going to bounce back. They're going to be 500 after next week, and I like it. I love it. And I wish I could probably post. I should probably just start posting my other stuff that's not a part of the hotline, that I be parlaying and stuff that I'd be thinking about. Yeah, because we went on it. It was a crazy streak that we kind of went on. It was, I don't know if you guys want to go in
and the streak hasn't come to an end. The streak is still rocking.
Yeah, so we'll tend to that with caution. But it was a very magical.
On wood, if you're with me.
It was a very magical weekend, and oh my God, just the Jets game. The Jets game was like the cherry on top, and I just couldn't believe it. It was insane. Soph can tell you she was beside herself. Like, what is going on? Why is he screaming? Because I was just like, I moved on all parts of the couch. I was silent the whole game, especially after when Aaron Rodgers went down. I was like, you know what, it's over. Like, just chalk it up as a L. And then, Zach Wilson kind of came in. He did throw a pick, but the Jets defense just did not quit, man. At one point in time, I saw the live line was like +600 or +900 for the Jets when Aaron Rodgers first went down. I was like, oh yeah, Vegas. It was like it's over. So everyone started live betting. The Bills. I already had a parlay on it, or I already had a live or like a regular bet on it, and I thought about live betting, but I was like, nah, I can't. I don't believe it, Zach Wilson. So.
Gary, did you want to say something real quick?
Shout out to Vaughn, on a hot streak right now. Real quick, I ain't gonna lie, I got a 4-14 parlay right now. I just created, Shaun. You want to write it down real quick? I'll try to give some people some money today, just off the quick rip. I got these teams straight up, Vaughn, straight up. I got Buffalo straight up against Vegas. I got Baltimore over Cincinnati straight up.
Ooh.
I got KC over Jacksonville straight up. And the last one I want to put on my little parlay right here is Miami over New England straight up. You win those four, but I should get you a little money. I should get you a little something with those.
That's actually I was looking at that. Another game that is going to be very interesting is the two rookies are going to go at each other. C.J. Stroud of the Houston Texans are going to play against Anthony Richardson and the Colts. So that's going to be a very interesting game. You know, two young guys kind of going at it. We'll see who kind of comes out top. I lean towards the Colts in that game just because I think the Colts have a better defense, better team, in my opinion. But it could go either way. That game's kind of a toss. I'm going to pick them in that game. And another team that I like is the Packers over.
Khalil's going to love that.
Yeah, I love the Packers over the Falcons. I think Jordan Love is better than Desmond Ridder. I think their teams are very similar as far as just talent around them. But I think ultimately it comes down to quarterback play and how good is your quarterback. And I think Jordan Love's better than Desmond Ridder. Desmond Ridder didn't really play that well this past weekend. It was pretty much turnovers were pretty much the defense was able to create turnovers. And, you know, Ridder kind of just didn't fuck it up. And he made a nice throw to Kyle Pitts. I think that was really the only nice throw that he had. But I thought Jordan Love made a lot of good throws against the Bears this past weekend. And he looked poised, didn't turn the ball over, threw three touchdowns. And that's stats over politics. So I'm like, he looked good. I think the Packers start out 2-0.
All right, there you go. As here we are wrapping things up on episode number 50 of Stats Over Politics. We appreciate all of you for rocking with us through this first year. We haven't hit the 1 year mark officially yet, but having some bonus episodes here and there. We're already at episode 50 and time has flown by.
Me and Khalil never agree on anything ever.
But man, you guys are like spot on tonight. You guys are like in sync. It's like I'm listening to Khalil talk right now. But anyway, shout out to our guy Khalil. We always appreciate the support. Anyways, guys, last topic here on episode number 50 of Stats Over Politics. Shaun Holko alongside Jaevon, Toddy, and Garry Singh. Kevin Dent had to step out because now we're recording later. Kevin wakes up very early, so totally understand that as well. And so, final topic, guys, and because Kevin had to step out, we only have one LeBronologist on the panel for this final topic. As we saw, Team USA, they lost not only in the semifinal, but they lost in the third place game as Team USA lost to Germany in the semifinals. Congrats to Germany and Dennis Schroeder for going on to win it all, the FIBA World Cup. And then Team USA, they lost in overtime to Canada and Dylan Brooks and Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. And so Team USA leaves the FIBA World Cup without any type of medals, and that leads to the discussion of who will represent Team USA, the best country in the world. I think collectively has the best basketball players in the world, like as a whole, but we haven't seen those players represented, at least in the FIBA World Cup. So that leads us to the 2024 Olympics, which will be in Paris. And LeBron James, apparently, according to Shams, LeBron James is trying to build up a super team to go to Paris in 2024.
Show him what's up and get another
Garry,
medal.
Right? So, Garry, as our LeBronologist on the panel, I just want to ask a simple question that we see going around on the ticker right now. Will LeBron play for Team USA in the 2024 Olympics, and what would be the result if he does?
No matter if LeBron plays or not, the result will be a gold medal for the USA. I believe that. To be also honest, they take the FIBA World Cup. Gilbert Arenas said this. I felt it was so disrespectful, but I don't even want to say it, but it was kind of the truth. We sent her D or F team, to be honest with you guys. And I love the guys on this team. There are a lot of great guys on this team, and they're guys who are going to be great superstars one day. But as we've seen in the FIBA game, this is played different. So, and you all know now it's back-to-back. So now the guys who really play on the Olympics team who are top-notch guys don't really want to play. So I expect the top-notch guys to be there next year in the Olympics. Can't wait to root them on. If LeBron plays, it's a gold medal. LeBron doesn't play, it's a gold medal. So take it how you want to take it. But LeBron should play. It'll be crazy good. Oh, yeah. Get Fox on there, too. Get Fox on there. It'll be crazy.
It's that clutch connection. If you look at the report from Shams today about LeBron and a bunch of other guys who may be playing in the Olympics, it's all guys who are
I don't think Steph hasn't played yet, right? So it'd be great to see Steph and LeBron on the same team in the big league.
Steph played
a long time ago. He hasn't played in like quite a couple. I think he hasn't played in the last like 2 or something.
He didn't play in the last one, but I think Steph was in the 2016 Olympics.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think he was. I think you're right. Yeah, but man, that would be great to see. I just want our guys to go give the other teams a whoop ass. Like, we deserve that. Come on now. We got to represent when it's time to represent. So I can't wait to see this team. Make sure you bring some defense and big guys, please.
For sure.
I know we don't have that many big guys, but man.
Jaevon, you were the one who brought this topic up to us in our group chat today when we were just kind of going over what we're going to talk about tonight. And I initially said, because you just said Team USA, and I was like, well, we didn't talk about them the entire FIBA World Cup, so I don't want to be that guy only talking about them when they lose because we expect them to win all the time. But then you pivoted and you said, no, I mean, I want to talk about the Olympics coming up because just like Gilbert Arenas, none of us really seem to care about the FIBA World Cup. I think I watched the highlights on YouTube of the Spain game. I watched the highlights of the Spain game on YouTube, but I did not watch hardly anything else regarding the FIBA World Cup and Team USA, except for the 60-second highlight that might come up on SportsCenter. And so I didn't want to be that guy only talking about them when they lose. And so let's talk about just spinning it forward now, because what's done is done. And so, Jaevon, what do you think about the 2024 Olympic team, the potential for LeBron James, De'Aaron Fox to play, all that good stuff?
Yeah, so the guys that are kind of reported being interested in playing is LeBron James, Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, Anthony Davis, Damian Lillard, Jason Tatum, D Book, Kyrie, Bam, Draymond, and I also saw De'Aaron on there. And I saw that they're trying to get Joel to play.
Or Aaron Gordon, I heard.
Yeah.
I thought Joel is from Cameroon.
He has a U.S. citizenship, so he could qualify as an American.
Oh yeah, but, more the merrier.
I kind of like that guy. I'm not gonna lie to you, but anyway, side point.
I think it's the LeBron effect, pretty much. I haven't heard. I remember when they all were going to the bubble and they had a big ass meeting. I forget who it was. I think it was Draymond that was saying this. That basically, if LeBron was playing, then everybody is going to play. So if
it was when they had the protest and they just completely stopped playing.
Yeah, LeBron was kind of pushing, for them to play this, that, and the third, the bubble.
He knew the ring was
everybody was going to play if LeBron was playing. So I feel like it's the same effect with Team USA. If LeBron's trying to kind of form a team, then it's pretty much going to happen. If you send that list that I just mentioned out, I kind of agree with Gilbert that he said Team USA is winning every game by 50. It's pretty crazy. So I think when their best players play, which I don't think that the team that they sent out, this summer was not the best team, the best players in the NBA as of right now, as we speak. Like the people that I just named on that list,
young talent,
that are on a different level, are the best players in the league. I just think that if they end up playing, if that team ends up playing in next year's Olympics in Paris, the USA is going to take on the gold.
Plus, just give a quick shout out to the other team, Shaun. There's some teams that played really great. Then some NBA guys from other teams that played really great. So you got to give credit where credit's due.
Without a doubt, the rest of the world is certainly catching up with us in USA, and it'll be interesting to see. I agree with both of you that I do think that regardless of who maybe not the D team that we saw in the FIBA World Cup. I don't need to see Walker Kessler representing. He's a great young player, but I don't need to see him representing the best of the best in the USA in world competition. And I can't remember the guy's name, but that one USA track star who said that winning an NBA championship isn't winning a world championship. I bet he had a little bit of a victory lap as well after Team USA.
That's what LeBron I think is really doing this. I'm going to shut these guys up real quick. Last run. My last medal.
Yeah, for sure. I heard, and I just want to, for those of you who are still tuned in, we have booked a guest for next Monday. That guest is Mr. Damian Barley of D-Lo and KC. He will be joining us for the first hour of next week's episode of Stats Over Politics. And I wanted to give him a shout out because I was listening to D'Lo and KC today, and they were both saying, well, okay, LeBron could play in 2024, and then by 2028, he'll be like 43, but that Olympics will be in LA, and it'll be in the United States or North America. And
that is crazy.
A portion of it will be in Los Angeles. And so then they were talking about saying, would LeBron play for that team? And the thing that they both agreed on is LeBron could retire from the NBA and just say, I want to play for Team USA one last time at 43 years old. And he could do whatever.
And play point and just chill.
Yeah, because he is LeBron James, and he is one of the greatest of all time. And so he can do what he wants. And so I definitely think that Team USA will win the gold in the 2024 Paris Olympics. It's just a question of who will be there. If we could see De'Aaron Fox there, and maybe if Domantas Sabonis wants to suit up for Lithuania and we get to see De'Aaron versus Domantas in the Olympics, that would be pretty. That would be pretty cool.
Von's looking at Sabonis like, hold on.
Yeah, no. Sabonis doesn't have that Joel Embiid status. But anyways, Joel,
it would be
really
go play
cool
for your country, brother. Just like Paulo. Paulo should have played for his country. They were getting on him. Italy hates him now.
Damn. All the time. Gotcha.
They sure do. But anyways, guys, that's going to do it for episode number 50 of Stats Over Politics. We appreciate all of you for tuning in and rocking with us this long. We're going to be back again next Monday at 8:30.
Gibson, baby.
Jaevon loves him some Xavier Gibson. Jaevon, did you even watch Hard Knocks?
I watched the first 2 episodes.
Okay, well, you got to tune into the rest of it because that's where Xavier Gibson was really highlighted. And so you could learn a little bit more about your boy. It's on Max.
He's definitely going to follow for me on Instagram.
There you go. So that's going to do it for episode number 50 of Stats Over Politics. Make sure to give us a like on YouTube. It really helps us a lot. And if you enjoy the show, hit subscribe to get notifications when we go live, and hit all notifications so you can get notifications anytime Kevin's posting clips of the show or when we go live, especially when we have bonus episodes on a random day. You can follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Stats Over Politics and on Twitter at Stats Over Politics. Make sure to subscribe, rate, and review on all podcast platforms. And if you're enjoying the show, give us 5 stars. We'd really appreciate it. As you've been tuned into Stats Over Politics, episode number 50. For Jaevon, Toddy, Garry Singh, and Kevin Dent, I'm Shaun Holko. We appreciate you all for tuning in. And Garry already said he's out of here. So, Jaevon, you and me, we're out of here too. And we'll catch you all next week on Stats Over Politics. Peace!